Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Um, if it were testing, testing, can you hear me? Am I clear? Test, test, test. Test one, test two, test, 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 test. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Test, test, test. Mic check, test, test, test. Mic check, mic check. Yeah, 678, 678, 600, 9829.
9829. I'll
Yep.
text you with my name.
Testing one, two. Oh, wow. I love the acoustics in here. It's fabulous. Awesome. Yeah, that's good. That'll work. Yep. And
is no respecter of person. What he's done for me, he'll do the same for you. God is no respecter of person. What he's done for me, he'll do the same for you. Listen, because he's given you the same grace. God has given you the same grace. God's given you the same grace. I'm talking about that Daniel grace. Same grace. Put your hand on your neighbor's shoulder. Tell him, God is no respecter of person. Tell him what he's done for me, he'll do the same for you. God is no respecter of person. What he's done for me, he'll do the same for you. 'Cause he's given you the same grace. I needed to release that tonight, so some of you would understand that even though you are in the fire, the same grace that he gave Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego is the same grace that God has given you. What is that, Bishop? What is that grace, Bishop? You're going to be in the fire, but when you come out, you won't smell like smoke. You're going to be in the fiery furnace, but when you come out, you won't look like what you've been through. God's given you the same grace. Same grace. Lay your hand on your neighbor, say, same grace. Tell him, say, 'cause he's giving you the same grace. Somebody wave your hands in the room, just say, same grace. Same grace. We're going up one more time, Vaughn. Y'all raise it again. Same grace. Last time, say, same grace. Now lay your hands on your neighbor's shoulder and tell them this. There's a grace on my life to release the glory of God. There's a grace on my life to release the glory of God. Somebody say it. There's a grace on my life to do what? To release the glory of God. There's a grace on my life. There's a grace on my life to release the glory of God. We sang that last night. I ain't supposed to be singing it tonight, but I felt like somebody needed to hear it tonight. Look down your row and tell somebody, there's a grace on my life. There's a grace on my life to release the glory of God. There's a grace on my life. There's a grace on my life to release the glory of God. There's a grace on my life. There's a grace on my life. I used to have a curse on my life, but now I got grace on my life. There's a grace on my life. There's a grace on my life. We got to move because we got church in the morning. Say, there's a grace on my life. There's a grace on my life. And after all that I've been through, I've got a story to tell you. He wouldn't let the devil consume me.
Hallelujah. Because of his grace, his mercy. don't deserve all the things that you've done. You keep blessing me over and over again. Oh, oh. I once was lost deep in sin till I heard your voice singing, you're my child, come on near. It was your grace and mercy shed it for me. If it wasn't for your love, I don't know what I would do. Tell me what would I do? Your blood redeemed me. Make me brand new. Your grace and mercy that brought me. You see, I'm not what I want to be, but I'm not what I used to be. Since He's cleansed and made me whole, I gotta press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling, which is in Christ Jesus. I cannot be left, I won't be left behind. Oh, hey, 'cause every day that I wake up, it's your way of telling me that you love me so. Love me so. And everything that I give up, it's my way of showing you that you live in me, that I've been set free. Oh, your grace and mercy brought me through. If it wasn't for your love, tell me what, tell me. Your blood makes me. Your grace brought me through. Your grace and brought me. Yes, it did. It brought me. Your grace and through the storm, through the test, through sickness and in stress, your grace, oh, mercy. When I was down, didn't have a friend, Lord, you stepped right on in. Your grace, yes it was, and said it brought me, it brought me, it brought me, it brought me. Your grace, and mercy brought me through. Wasn't for your love. Tell me what would I do? Your grace me through. I'm living this moment because of you. I want to thank you and praise you too. Your grace and mercy brought me through. Oh, Jesus, your grace, mercy brought me. I'm living this moment because of you. I want to thank you and praise you too. Your grace and mercy, oh Lord, has brought you through. Thank you for saving a sinner like me to tell the world salvation is free. There were times when I just didn't do right. But you
How's everybody doing? Oh, there we go. Yay. Good evening and welcome to Meet the Candidates Community Forum. And my name is Jennifer Freeman. I'm a native Atlantan and a product of APS. And I don't have the fortunate pleasure of being a resident in MPUG. However, I'm a resident in MPUI. So I have a vested interest in all of the neighborhood planning units. Having been the past president of Atlanta Planning Advisory Board, know how important it is to make sure that there are good relationships between not only the city council and all of the seats in city council and the president of council as well as the mayor, but being a liaison to the neighborhood planning units. And so at this time, what I'd like to do is give you all some housekeeping rules. I'm going to keep this real brief. We do know that we're all grown-ups here, right? Okay. It'll be good if you all respond. I'm almost like a preacher, Baptist preacher, get a response. Yes, so the first thing, we want to be respectful of each other and generally be professional. Also, when questions are asked to you, that you ask them completely and be clear when you speak to them, when you speak and respond to them. But what's so important is that you not talk over each other, that we cannot all talk at the same time. When the timekeeper says it's time for you to stop speaking, we would appreciate it if you would stop speaking at that time. And I believe that I have covered all 3 or 4 bases. Did I leave anything else out, Mr. Summerlin?
I believe you covered everything.
Okay, awesome. And Mr. Summerlin is going to take it away as we continue the candidates forum this evening.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tori Sumlin, and I currently serve as the NPUG chair. Thank you all for being here. I know that a lot of times we put a lot of emphasis when it comes to voting on our elections that affect our government as it relates to presidency. A lot of times people skip over right here at home. To me, right here at home is where we need to put our main focus, because that's where we have our largest and our loudest voice. I have enjoyed my time serving as NPUG chair. We have elections coming up. Depending on how I've done, my constituents will determine whether or not I stay or whether I go. but I will remain, of course, a resident of NPUG. Again, thank you for being here. We're going to go ahead and get started. And as you answer questions that we read or questions that come from the audience, if you would please stand and answer those questions. Okay? Thank you. You need more volume?
On our mics, okay. Volume up on our mics. Thank you. Especially Mr. Summerlins.
Do I need to speak louder?
At this time, we're going to start all the way at the end of the table. If you would introduce yourself, all the way at the end. All the way at the end of all the tables. How about that? Yes. Yes. If you would introduce yourself and let us know what seat you're running for, and give us a brief introduction, if you like, of yourself. 90 seconds.
Please stand.
Please stand.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name's Eddie Meredith. I'm running for mayor of Atlanta. I grew up in Atlanta. I've been here for most of my life. I'm a community advocate, community outreach organizer, and I believe in just helping people and serving.
Good evening. I am Dustin Hill, as Atlanta City Council member for District 9. I have served District 9 for 8 years and running for re-election. Prior to being a council member, I was an ICU nurse at Emory University Hospital, where I worked in the neuroscience ICU and also on the Ebola team, and then worked worked starting in 2015 to 2017 to get experience in government. Worked for my predecessor, Felicia Moore, who had served District 9 for 20 years and went on to be our City Council President for 4 years, and really focused on infrastructure, public safety, and parks and trails, and will continue to do that for another 4 years for District 9. Thank you.
Hello, MPUG. My name is Charles Bourgeois. And for those watching online, yes, my last name is really Bourgeois. I have become a son of this city and moved to Atlanta nearly 20 years ago to go to Morehouse College. I am a hospitality executive, but most importantly, a husband, a father of a 3-month-old baby boy and a 3-year-old baby girl. I have had the utmost opportunity to knock on 12,000 doors in this district and meet people where they are on their doorstep and speak about the issues directly. And what I found is that we are in a time of need to reimagine the way that this district works and how we can help people who need it most, because District 9 is often a tale of two districts, where those who have the least needs get the most service, and those with the most needs get ignored every single day. And so my name is Charles Bourgeois. I'm running to be your Atlanta City Councilman in District 9, and I cannot wait to serve and make every day about people. My number one goal is, when I wake up every morning, is to put my pants, shirt, and shoes on and make sure that we are centered around people, solving problems for everyday people, and making sure that we can stick to making sure that those who need the help get the help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Where's the timer?
I have it.
You have it. We will assure you that it will be 90 seconds. We may give you a little grace period, everybody. Yeah.
All right. Well, good afternoon. I'm Juan Mendoza. I'm running for Atlanta City Council, post 1 at large, so it's citywide, so no matter what neighborhood you live in, we will be on your ballot. I'm a neighborhood leader myself, so what I do know is that a lot of the city is moved by neighborhood leadership. So I run the 04th Ward Business Association. Been doing that for the last 6 years. I'm an executive committee member for NPUM, so I've been doing that for the last 6 years as well. What I do for a living is I'm a commercial banker, so strong finance, business, cash flow understanding. Went to UGA's executive banking school. And I live in Grant Park, so I love this city. I look forward to helping fix some of the challenges. We're looking at helping affordability, transit infrastructure, and helping bridge some of the inequities that we're experiencing in the city still.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matt Rinker. I am also a candidate for Atlanta City Council Post 1 citywide, so it'll be on the ballot in everybody's voting booth this year. I am a neighborhood leader. I'm president of the Peoplestown Neighborhood Association in the south side of the city, and I'm also very active in my NPUV. I am a transit advocate and have been rated the second highest score by Beltline Rail now because I'm a strong believer of rail along the Beltline, as well as connected sidewalks and protected bike lanes. I also work in the real estate industry, and so I know what needs to be done with our housing crisis, and I look forward to serving the entire city of Atlanta, whether you're in Buckhead, Bankhead, Cascade Heights, or Collier Hills. I'm ready to serve the entire city of Atlanta.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. City Council Member Byron Amos, Atlanta City Council District 3. It appears as if I'm the only candidate that showed up. Maybe he's outside. He was here and left. So you can take that up with him if he comes in. But Atlanta native, APS graduate from D. Booker T. Washington High School, been an NPU chair, Neighborhood Association chair, served you on the school board, now I'm serving you on City Council. We have done some wonderful things together from lowering crime, bringing Walmart back to the community, creating jobs, and building affordable homes. That's what I want to continue to do with you over the next 4 years. There's still some things we have to do around infrastructure, transit, and of course there has to be a better relationship, as we was just talking, with Atlanta Public Schools and the city of Atlanta. Those are the things that are important to the voters of District 3. I am your person, but if you remember anything that leads you tonight, remember, I'm the one that showed up and stayed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, MPUG. My name is Royce Mann. I am a lifelong Atlantan, a proud graduate of Atlanta Public Schools, Grady High School, now Midtown High School class of 2020, a recent Emory alum and a longtime community organizer. And I'm proud to be running to be your Seat 8 citywide member on the Atlanta Board of Education. I'm running to bring the voice of someone who has been a student in our schools recently. We have a 9-member Board of Education. We have a current teacher on there. We have a former superintendent. We have multiple parents. What we don't have is the voice of somebody who has been a student in our schools in the last 2 decades. And I believe that we need that voice to truly address the issues facing students today. And that's what I'm focused on. I want to double the number of counselors in our schools. Right now, we only have 1 counselor for every 500 students. I believe that's unacceptable. I want to work with MARTA to get free MARTA access for our high school students so that they can access the diverse array of job training and extracurricular opportunities that exist in Atlanta. And I want to ensure that we use the nearly 50 vacant and unactivated properties that we own as a district to actually serve our families. And one way that we can do that is by providing universal pre-K for 3- and 4-year-olds across the city. Again, my name is Royce Mann, and I'm proudly running to be your next Board of Education member for Seat 8 citywide.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Aisha Allen Stith, and I also am an APS proud alumni. And I have 3 children currently enrolled in APS schools. So, and I'm married to a man who went to Booker T. Washington. In fact, we realize my children are 4th generation APS students. But I am not running for the 3 children that live in my household. I'm running for my city. When I comb through the data, we were just talking about hip hop, you and I think about what our city produces, and I thought, okay, this is not our best. Atlanta is not getting its best, and we're not giving our best. Our children deserve much more than they have gotten in a very long time, and I am committed to making sure that change is effective and measurable, and so that when we are out and about, we feel it. We feel how great Atlanta is. We influence everything. Well, what are we influencing currently? It's not something that we can all be proud of, and I am running to change that narrative back to the greatness that we once had. So thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Casey Brock, and I'm excited to be here with all of you tonight. I grew up in the Metro Atlanta area. I'm very careful to say Metro Atlanta, mostly in DeKalb County, and then I finished high school in Cobb County. And I come to you as an experienced educator. 18 years ago, actually it's 19 now, I entered my 1st grade classroom with my incredible 1st grade students. And we did everything there, from learning how to read, teaching kids math. I just remember so vividly what it looked like at the beginning of the year for them to the end of the year. And I knew that year, when I was 23 years old, that education was my life's work. I continued to stay in education as a 6th grade teacher. I moved on to then run a college access and persistence program. I've been a district coach, a district leader, and for the past 7 years, I've been supporting college and career leaders across the country and helping them come up with innovative programs and solutions to make sure that every single student had access to economic mobility and the best opportunities presented to them. I am crazy about literacy. As somebody who taught kids how to read, I know it needs to be done, and I feel very confident that I have solutions to make sure that our literacy proficiency rates go up in APS. Oh no, the timing. I'm the only person who came up on time. Okay, wow. Well, there are a lot more things I'd love to share with you, and thank you all for having me tonight. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello, my name is Dr. Helmut Love. I'm running for Atlanta mayor. I come from a bit of a mixed-up family. My father is a German immigrant from Berlin. His parents were Nazi resistance. And my mother, she's Latin Native American. Her parents stole from the rich to give to the poor in northern Mexico until they became Christian missionaries and came here. I was raised in Texas, and I lived the American dream. I studied biomedical engineering and got an MBA from Kellogg Northwestern, worked for 10 years at GE and developed a product for them that made them millions. Led a $250 million business at IBM Watson in AI and tech. Why do I tell you all that? I became really good at turnarounds in business. And I'm running for an Atlanta mayor because I don't see the kind of hope that I want to see in the eyes of my 3 daughters. I don't see it in that hope in the eyes of a lot of children their age or their parents. And I think that Atlanta is very vulnerable. We have the largest wealth gap of a city our size. And the issue is 3 things that I'm addressing. 1, the great corruption in this city. The Office of Inspector General left, citing widespread corruption in our city. It's time for that to end. We're facing the largest federal spending cut and AI job loss to the tune of 4. So all of my campaign is focused on bringing economic wealth to our city
10 seconds.
and helping people, helping the money go to our people. My name is Helmut Love, and I'm the people's choice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give all of our candidates a round of applause. First of all, I want to commend all of you all for your willingness to be a public servant. What I know about being a public servant is that regardless to whether you get as many votes as you need to win, because in my opinion, there are no losers, right? That you will continue to serve our city no matter what, okay? So we have some questions and responses from MPUG residents that we'd like to ask of you all. And I think I'm going to start with, since I know pretty much all you all's backgrounds, I'm going to start with the folks who are running for education seats, okay, and have the public education interest and experience. So let's start with Ms. Stiff. How will you ensure equitable funding and resources for schools in underserved communities? And you have 60 seconds to answer that.
Go quick.
Yeah, you do.
I don't
Go
like
ahead.
the word ensure. We cannot ensure but so much. I'm one person who will sit on a 9-board member position. So to say that I will ensure that is going to be very difficult. And I think every time someone's told you that, let me know what the result has been. I think we also have to communicate what equitable means. Why does it seem that some schools get more money and other schools don't? That is on APS to communicate and to break that down so that we know why some students are $11,000 per pupil and some schools are $27,000 per pupil. And quite honestly, we need to be looking at the measurables as to whether or not the child who's getting $11,000 or $27,000 is getting the resources that he or she needs. So I plan on being an effective communicator and equipping the public with information that they have really been behind the
10
curtain
seconds.
about. Thank you so much.
You have 10 seconds left if you like.
I think they got my point.
Okay, thank you.
Candidates, just a quick note. When you're speaking into the mic, if you please hold the mic as close to your mouth as possible to make sure we have clear audio. Thank you.
Same question to Mr. Mann.
Thank you so much for this question. The status quo in Atlanta is not working. Only 1 in 3 elementary school students is reading on grade level, and there's about a 60-point gap in proficiency between white students and black students across content areas. And we know that this is not a reflection of the ability of our students. It's a reflection of the inability of APS to adequately serve the diverse needs of families across the district. Now, thankfully, we have ways that we can address this. First, we have a student success funding formula that we use as a district that allows us to put in weights that direct more funding where it's needed. Now, we already have a poverty weight that diverts more funding to schools that serve a greater proportion of students in poverty. I think we could look at even increasing that, but being intentional with what that money will be used to provide for students. If you go to a school like Midtown High School, where I graduated
5 seconds.
from, you have access to 9 career pathways. If you go to Washington, you only have access to 4. And so we
Time.
need to create equity in the programs that we offer.
Thank you, Mr. Mann. Dr. Brock?
So when I entered this work, it was solely to make sure that I was working with students that needed me the most. And I always have, and I always have worked in communities that have had the most need. And so I do have a good amount of experience with ensuring that things are equitable for young people, for families, for communities. Specifically in Atlanta, interestingly enough, students who have the highest needs also tend to get the most funding. And so if you look at the funding that is given to students per pupil, there is more money being spent on students that have the highest needs. So I actually think that the biggest challenge is making sure that that money is spent well and that the best and the brightest are going to the South Side, the West Side, where we do have the
10
lowest
seconds.
academic performance rates, and making sure that we're pouring into those communities so that those rates can go up. And that, to me, is actual equity.
Time.
Thank you, Dr. Brock. Be interested to know if there are any other candidates outside of that sphere would like to follow up on the same question or with a response, and if so, you will have 30 seconds. Raise of hands? Yes, Doctor.
Sure,
Dr.
this
Love.
is Dr. Helmut Lev. So I think it's really important to look at our schooling and look at the potential of things we haven't always thought about. AI is going to be a great way that we can actually help children become more literate faster. The second thing is we need to look at how we're compensating teachers and start looking at if they can be paid based upon performance and get more competition within them. And the third thing I'd like to see is I'd like to see a certain way of helping our poorest to maybe their children are worth a little bit more. So maybe we have people actually competing for those dollars for those children to come to their schools. I think there's a lot of creativity we can do with private-public partnership in our schools, and I'd like to encourage that.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you.
All right, the next set of questions is going to be for our councilpersons as well as our mayoral candidates. The question is, can you streamline the time it takes to penalize slumlords in the courts? Code enforcement needs an overhaul to make the reporting and prosecution easier. That question is open to mayoral candidates as well as the city council candidates. So if you want to go in order, starting from the end and back.
I need you to repeat the question.
Yes. Can you streamline the time it takes to penalize slumlords in the courts? You want me to read the statement part of it as well?
I'm trying to make sure.
Let's go to the next one.
I think the basis of the question is,
I want you to ask in a way where people can understand. I understand what you're saying.
So the questions that I'm reading were submitted online from constituents within NPUG.
Okay.
The question, if I had to put it in my own words, what can you put in place? What are you willing to do? What are you able to do to speed up the process and prosecute landlords that don't take care of their properties and their tenants?
Everybody looking at me like they want me to go first.
We do.
We're starting from
We're starting
from
from
you.
you.
We're gonna come back this way.
We starting with me? All right.
Yes, sir.
I happen to be a landlord, but I'm a good one. So for me, I honestly believe that that issue should be dealt with directly, especially thinking about the tenants that have to deal with slumlords. Slumlords actually give the city of Atlanta a bad rep. And I would deal with it by removing the slumlords out of the community. I think directly with the city of Atlanta, APD, zoning, and
10
finding.
seconds.
How much time I got left?
10 seconds.
And finding a way to rehab the
Time.
properties.
Time. Mr. Hillis?
Thank you, Ms. Friedman. So code enforcement is actually what brought me into public service. I moved into Atlanta in a neighborhood where there were burned out houses, broken windows, slumlords had abandoned houses after the housing crisis of 07, 08. And I went to work in my neighborhood, starting with what I call the dirty dozen list, and continually revised it. That's what my former council member, who I went to work for, took notice of and said, I want you to come do for District 9 what you did for your neighborhood. And I went to work, again, as I stated in my opening, part-time, 20 hours a week, driving every street in District 9, going after these abandoned, burned out homes. And we've made a lot of strides since then. That was 10 years ago.
10
but there's
seconds.
still a lot of improvement to be done. And what I would like to see is while we cannot increase fines over $1,000, for us to cite per day violations. So those fines stack up and it's just not the cost of doing business for slumlords, developers. Thank you.
Mr. Dubois?
Bourgeois.
Bourgeois.
Not Dubois.
Almost got it right.
Bourgeois.
This sounds French, though, didn't it?
It is French Creole, a little bit of gumbo in there.
Okay.
So thank you for this question. I think ultimately, we are in a space in the city where we have a problem with slumlords. And this translates to buildings being unmanaged and housed. It becomes an insight for the community, and then we have a situation where it may bring property values down. So I think, first, we need to better communicate how the agencies are working together. We also need to make sure that we can update the housing code to make sure that we are talking directly with the landlords in the language that they understand, and that's money. And so when we start talking about how to make this process swifter and more efficient, we need to make sure the penalties are higher. And so when we talk about those penalties, although they cannot go past a certain point, I would be one to talk about possibly criminal citations if you are a habitual violator. And that will streamline things along to make sure that we can protect our neighborhoods, to make sure that these processes are working together.
10
properly.
seconds.
And I also think that the city needs to make sure we have a warmer welcome between the county and the city to make sure that we are holding people accountable, because Fulton County and City of Atlanta must work together in order for this process to work as streamlined as it can. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mendoza?
Yeah, this is a crisis. So in terms of the work we've done throughout the campaign, Housing Justice League is a coalition that really focuses on this slumlord, low-income housing. And when you're knocking on these doors and you talk to the tenants living in there, It's pest-ridden. There's black mold everywhere when it rains and floods. And also in some of those units, sewage is coming up through the sink. And so for me, every human being, no matter what your income level is, no matter what your background is, should have safe, dignified housing. And so we looked into what these properties, what the process has been, right? And what I do know, some of the gaps, some of the challenge for enforcing and streamline is if it's government subsidized, is you have the federal entity in there, right? So our council member for the district did everything they could, but then we have to have that relationship at the federal level to get some actions taken.
10 seconds.
From a budget perspective, I think we can fund resources for them to have legal advice, being able to be able to invest so that they have the capacity to advocate for themselves.
Thank you.
I've actually done this work. So I have a real estate background, and as president of the Peoplestown Neighborhood Association, we had a landlord with units that were mold infested. That landlord was trying to develop another property in our neighborhood, and so what we did is fight back to obstruct them from getting zoning changes. That's one piece that we can do as a city, is to hold landlords accountable, is not allow them to continue to build new stuff when they have stuff that's falling apart. The second thing is when we move people out of apartments like Forest Cove and we promise lawsuits to come, we have to fulfill those promises. So in addition to making it incremental fines go up so that it becomes cost burden, we also have to hold them accountable by law.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Amos?
That's Byron Amos, Atlanta City Council District 3. That was a two-part question really about people and property. State law actually mandates that municipalities can't do anything to interfere with the relationship between landlord and tenant. So that is why we talk about rent control, when we talk about dilapidated housing and making sure people having a fair, clean, safe place to stay. A lot of the time, state law stop us from doing that. So next year, when state people are running, knocking on your door, asking for your vote, bring this question up. When it comes to property, that's one of the things that we're able to do. We actually authorized the mayor to start eminent domain on 2 properties in District 3. One that was rapidly becoming like Forest Cove, didn't interfere with the landlord-tenant relationship, but it did say to that landlord that we are prepared to use every tool in our toolkit to make sure you're delivering that service. When it also comes to dealing with people, we do need to start finding people that $1,000 every occurrence that we need so we can affect their bottom line instead of just the cost of doing business, and then educate people about the right level of government to advocate for.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Love?
All right, Helmut Love, Atlanta mayoral candidate. I would, look, I tend to take a business approach to these sort of things. You put a team, you put metrics on it, and it gets something. So you get a special task force that's focused on how do I move this time faster. I'd also talk to the courts and see if they could develop a fast track policy. The other thing is I would want to look at, can this be visible to the public? Can we actually see reports of who is not abiding by these and how many times that's happening? Let's get more visibility on the people who are doing people wrong, and I think that's going to help in the process.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I wanted to make a comment real quick and see if there's someone from on the education side, if you all would like to follow up on the question. One thing that a couple of you all did say that I thought, all of you all said great responses. Okay, let me get that straight. But when you're talking about housing, okay, when you're talking about slumlords, you're talking about building relationships over all governmental agencies, okay, particularly the state, okay? And so just keep that in mind. This is for the residents as well, that it's not cookie cutter. It's not cut and dry, but it is a serious problem. But collaboration with different partners is so important when it comes to housing, from affordability to the unhoused. So keep that in mind. All right, so are there any one of the candidates that are running for school board? Would you all like to follow up on that same question? Only one, please.
Sorry.
Dr. Brock?
Yes.
Thank you.
I would love to. So I have experienced this with students before when housing was not safe or stable. I've also worked in a place where, because of immigration status, many slumlords were using that over the heads of families that I worked with. One of the biggest challenges with unstable housing and education, one, our absenteeism rate is around 30%. So if you think about how hard it is already, this makes it even tougher. But then also thinking about the fact that our students are oftentimes coming to school, they may be hungry depending on what community they're in. They may be in need of a full night of sleep. And it's very difficult to actually come to school and learn if you do not have everything else that you need to be able to show up and to just be a person. And a lot of our young kids, because of issues like this, are struggling.
10 seconds.
I think it's up to us to work really closely with City Council. We were all just having this conversation to make sure that we're working hand in hand to address these issues.
Thank you. We see that Mr. Bostic has showed up. Thank you so much for being here. We'd like to give you, how many seconds would you like to give him? Give him 90 seconds, like everyone else, to state your name, the seat that you're running for, and just a brief background of you and your experience. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Perrin Bostic, and I'm proud to be a candidate for Atlanta City Council District 3, and I'm running because Atlanta is not working for everyone. And we need fresh perspective, fresh energy, ready to address our issues with a sense of urgency. I'm coming to this campaign with experience at multiple levels of government, having worked at the federal level in the U.S. Senator's office, but also at City Council as a City Council staffer, and also at the county level as a court administrator for the Magistrate Court. And so I believe that we need to have a government that is about accountability and transparency and making sure that it's working for everyone. And that's why I'm running, and I'm asking for your votes and your prayers today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bostic. Okay, we are moving on to a different topic. And this topic is always hot during elections. And I bet you all can guess what it is. Can we say public safety? Public safety. Safe public. Does the neighborhood feel like it's safe? I say this all the time. When elected officials say, oh, crime is going down, guess what? It's relative, because if something is going on in your neighborhood, no, you may not be thinking that crime goes down. So what we're going to do is, do we want to pose this to, which candidates would you like for us to pose to public safety to?
We are candidates as well as our council.
Okay, so let's start with Dr. Love on public safety. And the residents of MPUG are asking this question. What investments will you make in violence prevention and mental health services?
Great question. So I'll handle those as two questions. So for policing, I think it's really important that we continue to fund more efficient police force. If you talk to many of the MPUs, they don't have the feeling that things are safe for them, and they want to see more effective policing in their neighborhoods. I would, at the same time, continue to fund creative concepts around training, using whether AI and tech, to help our police be more efficient and more judicious in how they police. But the second component for mental health is a huge piece. I actually think one of the biggest assets for mental health that we have are our own people, and specifically our senior community. I have an idea of looking at a specific way that we can connect seniors to younger people who can't afford expensive mental health care, but there are studies done, bench studies in Africa, that actually showed that by utilizing your senior population who really want to connect with younger, that can be done effectively in a city and affordably.
10 seconds.
So I think that there are opportunities like that that are creative that can help with our mental health in our city.
Thank you. And we want to remind the candidates you have 60 seconds for these questions. And let's go with down at the end, Mr. What's his last name?
Meredith?
Oh, Eddie Meredith, yes. Same question. Would you like me to repeat it again for you?
Sure, why
Okay.
not?
All righty. So what investments will you make in violence prevention and mental health services? And I apologize for Mr. Meredith for totally blanking out on your name.
No, it's okay. The $110 million was already spent on a facility, Cop City. I don't know if you ever heard of Cop City, but $110 million was already spent on that facility. So we could use that facility to invest in social work. Social work in return takes care of mental health. Not only that, the money now, I think $28.7 million has been invested in lawsuits. That money could have been invested into more public safety, so police officers, pay being raised, not just pay being raised, but also homelessness that's on the street. How do I say this? When homelessness rises, crime rises. When poverty rises, crime rises. And so if we can minimize
10 seconds.
the homelessness and the poverty, we can minimize the crime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Hillis?
Thank you for the question. So when I've run each time, public safety is, as you mentioned, been at the forefront. It is for many candidates. I have proudly served as the chair or the vice chair of the Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee each of my 8 years. And some great accomplishments that have happened, as you mentioned, for violence prevention. Under the previous mayor, Keisha Lance Bottoms, we actually created the Office of Violence Prevention. We had some rough times with crime because of COVID. Since Mayor Dickens has joined us as our mayor, we have made some great strides in bringing crime down since then. Overall crime across the city is down about 10%. District 9 is down about 13%. And even more important, homicides are down about 30 to 40% across the city over the past few years. And another great thing that has happened is, you did mention mental health. I will call out that is actually on the county to provide those services. They've made some great investments
5
and opened
seconds.
a mental health center, but I have also served as the co-chair of the Justice Policy Board with Justice McBurney, and we've made a great investment in downtown at the Diversion Center. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for this. Can you guys hear me? Yeah?
Yes.
Thank you for this question. I think first, right, we need to address the elephant in the room. And that elephant, when it's regarded and related to crime, is poverty. If you want to address the issues when it comes to crime, you need to be steadfast and focused on solving the problems of poverty, because most times in our community, we are seeing crimes of survival. And the crimes of survival are happening for those that are the most vulnerable and that are oftentimes the youngest. The priorities that happen in policing are just one part. Police represents a part of a comprehensive strategy, and when you talk about solving crime, you first must look at poverty, then you must look at the youth, because the majority of our crime is teenagers, ages 18 to 9. The thing that I think is important is that people don't forget, in 2022, when my opponent was the chair of public safety, kids were dangerously shooting and killing people in Atlantic Station. No dramatic changes were happening and done at that point, and so now we're in a space in the city where it is unsafe to walk around with water boys or children that do not have a promise and hope in future. So when we talk about public safety, we must invest into PAD and have alternatives to policing to make sure that we are providing another
10
solution.
seconds.
If you call someone for help, you don't always need a man with a badge and a gun. And so the investment is on alternative policing and making sure we have outlets for our youth to not resort to crimes of survival. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bourgeois. Thank you.
Yeah. So for me, public safety is a multi-pronged approach. One is getting our staffing levels adequately to an APD so that we have enough officers out there. Making sure our officers can live in the community they serve, right? That will allow them to really understand the community and understand what some of the challenges may be for the individual that they're having to address. As simple as well as increasing the lighting, right? In some of these hot spots, just adding lighting can do a lot to deter, bring awareness, and kind of take some of that. And addressing the unshelteredness the city has already invested in PAD alongside the county. What we do know is they're not being leveraged enough, and essentially what PAD does is able to come out and give that alternative policing, have substance abuse training, have mental health training to help us with that and help us get people from unshelteredness into a bed with a hot meal. And so really making sure that we're able to empower them and have them to grow.
10 seconds.
And then lastly, making sure we're coming out to the community and providing mentorship and youth programs and better transit so individuals can get to job centers
Time.
and have higher economic opportunities.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, my name is Matt Rinker. I'm running for Atlanta City Council, Post 1 citywide. One of the first things I would do is invest my time. Currently, the incumbent in this race sits on the Public Safety Committee. he has shown up to less than 50% of the committee meetings this year. That's where our council members hold APD and other public safety officials accountable so that the citizens are being well represented. Second, it is expanding those PAD services. Right now, they are not 24/7. And we know homelessness issues and mental illnesses happen after hours and on the weekends. We have to expand that to 24/7. They are ready and willing to get the manpower to do it. I've had one-on-one conversations with the director of PAD. She's ready. She's ready to do it, and she's ready to service the city. It's also making sure our officers know how to utilize PAD services so that they can then go and answer true public safety issues. And it's working with APS, so we have mentorship programs for our youth. So after school, kids are not sitting at home on the street corner. They're in an after-school program learning how to be an apprentice, learning a trade, or learning something that's going to move them forward economically.
Thank you. Before you go, Mr. Bostic, we're going to shift to another question along the same line. But also, I want to, and this can be to any candidate that has already spoken. I hear PAD a lot, and I'm happy to hear that. I specifically want to know, how do you plan on funding it? Okay, because we do know that it needs to be funded. So what would be your recommendation? Where would the city get the money in order to not only fund the positions, right, the salaries from a personnel perspective, but also for it to expand to be 24 hours? Because we all know it needs to be 24/7. So I'd like for someone who's interested in answering that question, I think that would be good. The residents would like to know. For those who've answered. Yeah, we'll get back to you, Miss Stitch.
I'm happy
Yes.
to go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think
Mr.
we
Renner.
look at the budget as a whole, and if it's not a priority, we won't fund it. We just passed a record budget this year, so it's allocating money wisely. It doesn't mean taking money away from APD, it's resourcing it so that they are better utilizing their funds, and it's one whole service. So it's not necessarily coming up with new funds for it, but it's coming up and streamlining where we're already spending our money and making sure we're spending it efficiently.
Thank you. Anyone else that had already spoken earlier?
Candidates, just a quick reminder, please hold the mic as close as you can to your mouth so we can make sure we capture the best audio.
Yeah, I would just say, as the previous speaker did, this is a budget question. So where does the money come from in the budget? And unfortunately, when budget time comes and we have budget hearings in April and May and June, I usually hear from constituents that I can count on my hands. So we need to know from the people what the budget priorities are. We know public safety is always at the top, but where do you draw the line between we need more police in our neighborhoods, we need community policing, we need PAD, we need pre-arrest diversion, we need the diversion center. And we also have to partner with Fulton County a lot, because if everyone looks at your tax bill, you give just about as much money to Fulton County as you do the city of Atlanta. And what is the last thing that Fulton County has done for you?
Thank you, Mr. Hillis. Ms. Stitch?
Yes, I am so glad. I just want to make the public aware. You all may know I'm not trying to insult you, but Atlanta Public School Board oversees more money than City Council. So that's $1.85 billion that are only going into 47,000 students. We should have 70,000 students. Does anyone know the cost to pay for a yearly prisoner? It's close to $100,000. In APS, as I gave you that statistic earlier, we could be providing the support for a student to the tune of $11,000. And guess what? Your tax dollar is paying for it either way. You are paying for a prisoner or you are paying for a student. So all of these questions are great for City Council, but it starts with education. And it starts with pressing against the people who are on the board and making sure that they are giving you something very different than we have had in a very long time. So don't take my word for it.
10 seconds.
Go home, research it, but understand APS is overseeing the largest budget in the Southeast. We are not the biggest city.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you want to stand up again, because the next question is going to go to you. Yes. We're shifting to along the same lines, but a different question that the residents have asked. Thank you.
So the question on the same subject of public safety says, how do you plan to address youth involvement in crime?
Get them involved in something else. I mean, this is what I'm saying. With almost $2 billion, you're telling me you can't expose the student to whatever he or she is interested in? That's ridiculous. I grew up here. I went to North Atlanta High School. I remember the activity bus. That means you could do whatever sport you wanted, not to mention the sports did not cost thousands of dollars. They were provided by the school. So if you want crime to go down, you have to expose students to something different. It is that simple. I have yet to meet the 5-year-old who is not interested in his education. It doesn't happen that way. But once you have beat him down, once he has been in that system, he has been neglected, he has not been supported, that is when you see him start to turn, he or she, turn to violence. That's the problem. We have to catch our children much earlier. And it's very simple. The resources are there. In APS, we have to overhaul the budget. We are paying out a lot of money that makes no sense. Once we overhaul the budget, then you open up the line item so you can use it, so we can provide more for our 47,000 and hopefully growing students. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mann.
We need to ensure that Atlanta Public Schools is the best pathway to economic mobility for every family in Atlanta. And we also need to expand the wraparound supports that will provide students with the resources that they need to show up to school, to learn successfully, and to have a place to go that's safe after school. As I said before, we have nearly 50 vacant properties that are owned by Atlanta Public Schools. We can use these properties to build out more after-school programs, job training programs, tutoring centers, and early education sites. But we also need to ensure that we are supporting students' mental health needs and supporting the diverse needs of families. We have a student and family support hub in Atlanta Public Schools. The district is committed to having one in each of our 9 school clusters. I think that's a great first step. By building out strong community partnerships with the organizations already doing the work on the ground, organizations like Chris 180 that is already partnered to APS, that has a program called the Cure Violence Initiative, we can address violence in our communities and in our schools.
Thank you, Mr. Mann.
I apologize. I didn't give you the 10-second. We were actually having a quick conversation.
We were
Mr.
talking.
Rohit, we saw that you just came in. We want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself.
How much time?
We're going to give you 90 seconds.
Yeah. Introduce your name. Hello, how are you?
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us this
Yes, of
evening,
course.
sir. Your name, what seat you're running for,
Yes.
and also still a little background about yourself and your
Sure.
experience. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, and thank you to all of you for being here. Apologies for my tardiness. This is my second forum, just came as fast as I could here. This is important for me to be here. My name is Rohit Malhotra, R-O-H-I-T. I'm proudly running to be the next city council president for the city of Atlanta. I love the city dearly, and for me, public policy is my love language. I've spent the past 15 years of my life making sure that I understand how legislation works, how budgets work, how we actually make sure that cities like Atlanta are working for people. And this is deeply personal for me. My parents are immigrants to this country who struggled a lot just to try to make it, just to try to build a better life for their family. And that story is not unique to Atlanta. Atlanta today has the highest income inequality gap in the United States with the lowest upward mobility. That is a policy problem. What I'm trying to do is to make sure that we are bringing good policy interventions into our city so that Atlanta works better for people. And I have not only the track record to do this, I have the deep-rooted community relationships that have got me here in the first place. I believe that in a time like now, which is in many ways a national crisis, we need bold and courageous leadership. We need folks who are willing to say the thing. Folks who are willing to do the thing. You should never run for office just to tell folks what you want. You should be here to tell people how you're going to show up. And that's why I'll keep showing up. And that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next subject is tax relief for seniors. This question will be posed to Mr. Amos. Do you support property tax freezes or reductions for elderly homeowners?
Yes, that's easy. Actually, I support it. Actually, on this year's council, they actually spread the anti-tax relief program that actually was piloted in District 3 to everyone in the city, is where we were able to freeze the property taxes of our elderly and pay their increases with that fund. So yes, I will support that.
Thank you. Next candidate.
I too support for seniors regarding property taxes. I believe we should expand the city's anti-tax displacement fund so that more people can participate in it, but I do support it.
Thank you. And candidates, I apologize, you do have 1 minute to respond. Go ahead, sir.
I'm going to keep introducing myself. Matt Rinker, Atlanta City Council, Post 1 citywide, just so everybody at home can remember as well. I absolutely support this. It's one of the top issues on my campaign website. And before you ask how we'll pay for it by forcing Fulton County to really assess commercial properties correctly. Right now, we have commercial properties that are drastically underpriced. They sell for hundreds of millions more than what the county's appraised them for. We can make up that revenue by appraising them right. And if the county won't do it, we need to bring in independent auditors to do it for us.
Thank you. Mr. Mendoza.
Yeah, I support it. We got some great programs out there, like the Legacy Resident Retention Program, which expires in 2030. So there's a group of our Legacy resident seniors that are going to be, they're in fear that they're going to lose their home in 5 years. We also have the new Anti-Displacement Tax Relief Fund, which does freeze the taxes. But there's a lot of seniors that only takes care of tax increase going forward. They can't afford their tax bill right now. And so we need programs that can actually keep them in their homes. So dig a little deeper, widen that legislation, expand for more people to be able to get in there. And a lot of that, how we're going to fund that, as Matt Rinker said, something I've been talking about throughout this whole campaign is we're losing $125 million in revenue through commercial underassessment. We just faced a $30 million shortfall, so that takes care of the $30 million and some things to fix affordability, to build
10
housing,
seconds.
to build transit infrastructure. So we got a lot of opportunity out there to help actually address these challenges.
Thank you. Mr. Rohit.
Okay, yes. Yes, we have to protect our seniors, and tax relief and tax freeze is one avenue to do that. But we have to go further. I think that oftentimes when we talk about always supporting communities, we always talk about it as freezes or reductions in costs. Another way to think about how people can actually afford things is not just reduction in cost, which I think we should do, but it's also the increase of wealth. We need to make sure that especially for seniors who are homeowners, that they have the ability that they can pass that on to their children. That we are supporting seniors not just in tax relief, but in home repairs. That we are supporting seniors not just when it comes to a good, quick, political thing that we are going to do, but that we are doing it year round. And we are bringing
10
seniors
seconds.
into conversations that they are often left out of.
Thank you.
Thank you for this question. I think on the onset, right, when we have conversations about keeping seniors in their home, everyone thinks about, when I turn 65, I've got to get a break. When I think of this, I think that that's the standard and bare minimum. There are other counties that surround us that when you turn 65, your taxes are almost abated. They're gone. So when we're having a conversation as Atlanta for the Future and then being the pioneer, we have to go further. We have to do more. We have to think bolder and bigger. And I have a specific policy on my website that talks about tax relief by tenure and not just by age. Because we have legacy residents that live in homes 20, 30, 40 years, and when that legacy resident passes away and passes it on to their kid, they pick up a tax bill and sometimes can not longer afford to stay in that home. So when we're talking about this, for me, this is personal. It's about generational wealth, because in the South, the number one way you
10 seconds.
get your income and be able to provide legacy to your children and your kids' kids is by being able to self-displace and not being forced to displace. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Yes, support senior tax relief and the various forms that it takes. I just want to make sure everyone knows one of those forms is an additional $50,000 homestead exemption for those 65 and older. So when you go to the polls to vote for us, make sure you go all the way to the end of the ballot and answer that question and vote yes, so we can give more tax relief from APS, who makes up anywhere from about 50 to some tax bills, 65+% of the tax bill. And APS will need to adjust for that, which they're actively doing. And they could do a lot more selling the extra land off that some of the school board members mentioned, and also provide housing relief for seniors there in that form. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. I support it. Our seniors are trying to age in a place with dignity on a fixed income. Fixed income, meaning they're not getting any more money. So I agree with some of the council members, like we do have to take a step further. How do we take a step further? How do we get more funds to our senior citizens with fixed incomes? We have to appeal to our local governor, our state governor. The relationship with the state governor and the city of Atlanta has to be repaired. If we can repair that relationship, we can get more funding for our senior citizens. We can raise their fixed income. And so, yes, I do totally and completely agree that, yes, I do support it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Love, would you like to also respond? Thank you.
Absolutely supportive. And when I mentioned earlier about the concept for mental health, I think finding creative ways for retired people to make additional dollars, like in that program, is very important. The other thing I wanted to quickly touch on the topic of youth and getting their involvement. I think they were tiptoeing a little bit away from things that worked, things like raising our children in faith-based institutions, things like the Boy Scouts and scouting. These are ways that young people were taught values early on. And I would look at ways to incentivize participation of youth and those types of programs to be revitalized in our communities. I think that getting youth exposed to those types of things worked in my generation. They will work in this generation. We have forgotten the things that raised our country up.
10
We've got to
seconds.
go back to bringing those things back into the way that we're raising our youth today.
Thank you. Okay. Under the same category, we are going to pose a different question, and we will start with Mr. Mann. What policies will you advocate to help seniors on fixed incomes stay in their homes?
Great question. First, I think that the homestead exemption on the ballot is a good first step, but we need to do more, especially for lower income residents. And one way that we can provide the funding to do that, as Mr. Rinker spoke to, is demanding that Fulton County properly assess commercial properties. There's a lot of talk about what this means for the city of Atlanta. It also means a lot for APS. I've seen estimates that we could be losing out on about $200 million annually. And even if it's less than that, that is still a lot of money that we can use as a district. And with that money, we can provide more relief to our seniors and legacy residents. I'm particularly interested in programs that don't just look at seniors, but at folks who've lived in their homes for 20 to 25 years plus.
10 seconds.
And programs that are means tested and ensure that we are providing the most relief to low-income residents.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Stitch?
That's a little outside of what an APS board member would do, but what I would like to see expand policy-wise is to support seniors who are supporting their grandchildren and children in their lives. A couple of years ago, a board member told me that I believe it's, and don't quote me on this percentage exactly, but in the Douglas cluster, it is somewhere around 65% of students are not being raised by a mom or a dad. So that means an aunt or a grandmother or grandfather is raising them. And if there are policies that can help those students and that senior who is raising them, I would 100% be behind that and making sure that they are the most comfortable. I ran into a grandmother on the campaign trail. She's raising 5 of her grandchildren, and she is disabled. And she said to us, I need help. I need help from APS. I am doing the most that I can do, and it's a lot. And so for those voices, I want to be able to find policies that support them best. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you saying that. I am actually a grandmother myself, and I'm helping to raise my 18-month-old. Yeah, and so it's good to hear that. We do know that the population in APS, I'm a product of APS, and so I know that the transitioning of families, and that there are a whole lot of nonprofits that have started to open because there are grandparents raising their grandchildren. So thank you so much for that response. Mr. Summerlin.
The next question that we have, what role should the city play in supporting senior centers and programs? That you will also have 1 minute to answer the question. We'll start with Mr. Amos.
That's a tough question because you put the word senior in there. Normally senior services are provided by county, but of course, all of our rec centers have some type of senior programming in it. And that's just it, funding those rec centers, not only to our seniors, but to our young people as well. That's one of the biggest things the city can do. But not only funding our rec centers, but we need to start talking across the street. There needs to be a better relationship between Fulton County Commission and the City of Atlanta City Council to talk about how do we work collaborative and just not stop there. Let's go across Trinity as well. Talk to the school board to see how all three entities can work together to tackle that big monster on the hill called the state. Let's not forget about them, who's defunding everything they can defund. But we definitely can work together by providing those services in our rec centers and also ensuring that Fulton County is on board to help as well.
Thank you.
Councilman Hillis.
Yeah, thank you for that. I will just echo what Councilmember Amos said, that at their core, senior services are provided by the county, which again, we give just as much tax money on our tax bills to the county as we do the city. But as was mentioned in our parks and rec centers, they also always have senior services. And I'm proud in District 9, will be an X part of District 9 after this election, but we have funded a $16 million rebuild of the Grove Park Recreation Center, which is in Grove Park. We'll be going over to District 3, but we'll be within a few hundred feet of District 9, so we will still be utilizing it. And also a renovation underway at the English Park Rec Center, which unfortunately we are losing to District 10. But again, that is very close to District 9, and
10
continue
seconds.
to look for other places to build rec centers within District 9. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bostic.
Thank you for the question. I've spent the entire campaign, a lot of time with seniors, and I can't tell you how many seniors are looking for more things to do, whether it's jazzercise, whether it's going to the natatorium. They're looking, and we have to do more as a city to expand opportunities for them to be able to come together and spend more time, but also be active. And that's something that they're interested in doing. And so we do have to make sure that in all our rec centers that we have more programs, and not just in some, but in all, because there are some that I talk to, and they don't feel like there are enough programs that are there for them. And so we have to make sure that we prioritize that during the budget process, funding different programs through our parks and recreation centers, and that's something that I'll support as the next council member.
Thank you.
Before Mr. Summerlin speaks, I want you all to make sure that you all are holding the mic up as close as you possibly can. Act like you're a Baptist or a Methodist preacher. Well, Baptist preacher, because Methodist preachers don't talk, they don't speak as loud. But you get my point, okay? Because you guys are going down, 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 and we can hardly hear you. Thank you.
And the reason we keep mentioning that, we can hear it in here, but we do have folks that are watching live stream, and we want to make sure we have the best audio for them.
Yes.
The next category of questions comes from equity and inclusion. The first question will be, how will you ensure racial and economic equity in city policies? We'll start with the mayoral candidates first. Mr. Mann, you want to go first? I'm sorry, Mr. Rohit.
Oh, that's right. Go ahead. He's the president. Go ahead. Speak.
Look,
he's the only one here.
Let's talk about DEI. So, the purpose of DEI was never for us to just create separate funds for people that can just be eliminated upon political convenience. The purpose of DEI was to take our existing funds, our existing services, and expand them to make sure that black folks and brown folks are inside them, that women actually have access to that. I think when we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, I don't want to see it in your statements and your ribbon cuttings. I want to see it in your policies, processes, and procedures. The best way to actually see if a city is committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion is to check the budget. Because if we're not investing in the people
10
who
seconds.
need it, then we end up in a situation where we are not putting our money where our mouth is. So I think people are done with performative politics.
Time.
And they want to be able to see it inside of our policies, processes, and procedures.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Love? Dr. Love?
Thank you. So to echo that, I think our biggest issue is that we have too much money going to line the pockets of people that aren't the people. A big reason I'm running is because I believe that a lot of the funding to be equitable needs to go to our citizens. That's why I actually announced a reconciliation plan. Not only for us to get together and publicly apologize to one another for all of the things we've done in the name of money, but to put together a wealth sharing program based upon merit. We need to find ways to actually start flowing money down to our weakest members in our society. This can be done. It is possible. We live in 2025. There's nothing we can't do, and that is a very important part of my policy and plan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Meredith.
Thanks for the question. Let me speak plainly. We're all vulnerable in the city of Atlanta. The single mom navigating skyrocketing rent and shrinking groceries. The middle-class family run emergency away from financial disaster. Our youth seduced in an economy that feeds off drugs, despair, and social media. Our senior citizens living in a community on a fixed income. The college graduate, the IT worker. We in this city are all vulnerable in a city that has not always put people over profit. But I believe this: the measure of leadership is not in hands out, but it's in hands up. Not in managing poverty, but in dismantling the systems that create it. That's why this campaign, our campaign, is grounded in one yet small but powerful belief. We invest in people and we all rise.
Thank you, Mr. Meredith. Next question. This is an open question, so whoever wants to answer the question may do so. What is your plan to support minority-owned businesses and contractors in the city of Atlanta?
Well, I definitely take that one. Continuously doing what I've been doing for the last 4 years as chair of the Transportation Committee, ensuring that first and foremost that we uphold the policies that was established a long time ago, starting with Maynard Jackson, to ensure that our black and brown and minority-owned businesses actually have a fair shot in the city of Atlanta, starting with the airport. But there are some things we have to do in City Hall first. First, contract compliance was non-existent. Then we need to deal with procurement, and then risk management. All three of those things go into a quality bid to go on the street. I think we need to break those bids down as well, because a lot of them were multi-million-dollar deals in which, of course, our black and brown and minority-owned businesses cannot qualify or have the bonding issue or bonding power to qualify for. Let's break those down so we can actually have packages and bids developed for black and brown businesses as well. So continuously do what I've been doing for the last 3.5 years, standing up for our small and minority businesses.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just say, since we're in church, I'll say amen to Councilmember Amos on the Transportation Committee, too, as well as the Finance Executive Committee, where I will just take up he's talked a lot about the minority and women-owned business programs that go back to the days of Mayor Jackson, which we still maintain, but we have to improve them. And that starts with really going after our procurement processes and contract compliance, like Councilmember Amos said, because right now, not a lot of people want to do work for the city. It takes too long, it's too difficult. You put a staple on the wrong side of the page, they throw out your bid. It's ridiculous. So we have to really drill down and bring procurement where it should be and contract compliance where it should be. And we're going to be working on that for the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Love?
So I've been advocating for small minority-owned businesses as president of the Oakland Ford Business Association for 6 years. As a commercial banker, I have made sure that this role that I have in providing access to capital, the ability to help businesses grow, has been focused on minority-owned businesses. And so what I do know in terms of minority-owned businesses having an equitable playing field in the city is that when a project is too large, you have a larger company, and then you're supposed to have a minority-certified business. But these larger companies have been able to figure out how to play the game and have a pseudo-minority-owned certified business. And that comes into making sure contract compliance is actually making sure that these are truly minority-owned businesses, local businesses. And so my priorities will make sure that we start digging into contract compliance, making sure that there's an equitable playing field for the minority-owned businesses in our community to do business with the city.
Thank you. Dr. Love?
Yes, so I love Maynard Jackson's precedent that he set for our city, but I want to remind us that there are very good resources that I know that say that we keep contracting with the same people. And what I want to emphasize is that corruption is colorblind. We need to look into all of these contracts and make sure that we're actually open to having the best bidders, that we have an open policy and really looking at who is at the table and are they giving us a good deal. Because if we aren't doing that, we're not judiciously taking care of our money. Money that, again, should be going back to the people. So I would look at the entire process from the perspective of, is it actually fair, open, and the most competitive bids that are getting rewarded in the city?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think that when we talk about Atlanta, when we talk about ATL, the first thing that comes to everyone's mind is the Black Mecca, home of the South, opportunity. You can move down here from anywhere and become anyone. Unfortunately, those days are almost long gone. And with the rising cost of inflation, the cost of housing, and the sheer permitting process, the money you'll spend on even getting up and operating in Atlanta makes it very difficult for anyone that doesn't come attached with big dollars and big pockets. So I believe that the city needs to focus and emphasize on supplier diversity programs, because there is not a real difference from the small entrepreneur that lives down the street in Browntown to the big business that is started and headquartered in Buckhead. The big difference, the main difference, is access to capital. And until we are allowing people that live in our neighborhoods that look like us access to capital, we are still going to be fighting for the piece of pie, because for too long, we have been feeding people fish food versus teaching people how to fish.
Time. Thank you, Mr. Bourgeois.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much what everybody said, but there's other components to it as well. It's also making sure Invest Atlanta is focusing small business grants to help those minority businesses get off the ground as well. So in addition, making sure we're limiting the number of business, contracts that are going out to people. Right now we have contractors who are creating new LLCs in order to get a contract. And that's not right. We need to be limiting those so we're spreading the wealth. And, you know, having the thresholds of having minority-owned businesses get contracts, we're not enforcing it the way we need to. So the Office of the Inspector General needs to be strengthened so we could really dig into how these contracts are being awarded.
Thank you, Mr. Rinker.
Thank you. I'll add to that. And I can tell you what I've done. We've got to work to make sure that we have our small businesses getting access to capital. As a council staffer, I wrote the Community Loan Fund. We all know small businesses that are doing just great. Maybe they're running barbershops out of their homes. Maybe it's a cooking business, and they just don't have access to the additional funds and technical assistance needed to make sure that their businesses can scale. What I did was I wrote the Community Loan Fund legislation that's now housed in Invest Atlanta. That was a private partnership with Wells Fargo for small business owners who are having difficulty getting access to technical assistance and capital from traditional lending institutions like Bank of America, Chase. We all know Black and brown business owners that are having difficulty getting loans and securing funds. So what we did was we created this public-private partnership so that they could have another way to receive technical assistance and capital, and that is how we're going to be able to scale, is to find these gaps where people are needing a little help, and as a city being innovative and creating public-private partnerships to address a lot of these issues. And so that is how we're going to move forward and address our small businesses, making sure they have technical assistance, also making sure that they have capital, because a lot of them are failing in the first 5 years. And we've got to do everything as a city to wrap our arms around them and give them the resources needed to be successful. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we're going to move to another subject.
The next subject is going to be infrastructure. And the question, you want to read first?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Okay, so there are two questions that residents would like to know. And the first one, actually, I'm going to do the second one.
Yes.
How will you ensure infrastructure projects benefit all neighborhoods equitably? I'm going to start with Dr. Love on that question.
Absolutely. So if I look at the city of Atlanta, a lot of our challenges have been in getting anything done. And I think a lot of that is about focus. We do too much to do too many things at the same time. I would take a very specific, get a piece done, get a piece. I'm thinking about projects like the Beltline and others where we're just not getting one piece done and moving to the next. And that doesn't mean everyone gets it at the same time, but that means that we actually get things done quickly. There's also things like putting incentives in our contracts to make sure that things are done on time or even early, where there's you're already thinking ahead about the execution of the team and the way that these are contracted. Those are two ways that I would look at those things being equitably done and making sure you have a comprehensive plan and you just get them done. Those are techniques that are commonly used in business that we need to be using in the city as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Love. Councilman Michael Julian Bond has joined us, and so you want to come on up? So we're going to do some housekeeping, musical chairs. How about that? Okay, if you want to move in. Just move in, yeah. There you go. You can sit here. You're welcome. There you go. Okay.
You want him to take a minute to introduction?
So, Mr. Bond, thank you so much for joining us. We've asked all the candidates to introduce themselves, let them know what seat you're running in, and some background and experience that you have. Thank you. And make sure you hold the microphone as closest to your mouth as possible.
Thank you very much. Well, and also thank you for indulging me and pardon me for being delayed. I had a conflict this evening. I'm Michael Julian Bond. I'm your Post 1 at Large representative. I have been in this position for the last 15 years. I've served in various capacities on the Atlanta City Council. I'm a native Atlantan, and I believe that the city can always do more with less. I am very adept at legislation for the city. I have served in various capacities on the city council, and I am running for re-election. And I'm really here tonight to listen to other candidates and other races to see who I might consider for other positions and to participate here today. I'm not new to it, I'm true to it. I am a prolific legislator. I've introduced and passed more legislation than any person in the city's history, living or dead, currently serving. I have I need to say this, I have an excellent attendance record at the full council meetings. I have never missed a council meeting since my father passed 10 years ago. I have served in various capacities. I've done infrastructure work. I've done public safety work. I've done work on...
10 seconds.
Oh, 10 seconds? Well, we'll get back to the debate, but no one has accomplished more than I have legislatively. That means it has run the breath of the city. And so I need your vote, want your support. Please support Michael Julian Bond, bondforatlanta.com.
Thank you, Mr. Bond.
Thank you.
We want to remind the candidates that they have 60 seconds to respond to each question. And if you want to, normally instead of rebuttal, it's really, if you wanted to do a follow-up, then it would be 30 seconds. So we're going to get back to the last question. And who is next? Mr. Sumlin.
Let's go to Council Member Hillis.
Okay.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. I'm so sorry. Okay. How will you ensure infrastructure projects benefit all neighborhoods equitably?
Yeah, so that is something that we already do as council members across Atlanta and the 12 council districts. One example of this is the last bond and T-SPOS referendum that went out to the voters. I was able to get more than $42 million worth of projects for District 9, more than any other council district in the city. And those are spread through all neighborhoods, north, south, east, and west of Atlanta. Some on the south side, MPUG, include, not MPUG, but J, the Grove Park Rec Center I mentioned earlier, sidewalks throughout MPUG, as well as Donnelly Hollowell Parkway, over $5 million. And then also, I also work with the state for some very needed projects, including the Donnelly Hollowell transformation, which was formerly one of the deadliest streets in the city with over 25 pedestrian deaths
10
in just
seconds.
a decade. And so I will just keep continuing what I've done for the past 8 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bond?
Thank you for the question. Yes, like Councilmember Hill said, we've worked together on many initiatives across the city. The city has various departments that have a planning process where we put the projects in to have them completed. There's an engineering review, and of course, everything that we do as far as development is put in the CDP that goes through a process through our NPUs to make sure that the citizens are being served and that the resources of the city are being developed equally across districts. I've served in the district before. I'm a former district representative of District 3, and now in the citywide position, we make sure that we're supporting the districts to make sure there is that balance on project completion.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. Mr. Meredith?
$33% of our income goes towards housing in the city of Atlanta. For some people, that's 50%. For some people, that's 70%. How do we get that number down? We have to increase our wages. And that is the start. That is the start, by increasing our wages. We have to focus on minimizing the wage gap. That's what I want to say. Minimizing the wage gap. The wage gap has to be minimized. We have to close that wealth gap. And so that's how we focus on our infrastructure. Infrastructure has to be built through closing the wage gap.
Thank you, Mr. Meredith. Mr. Amos?
Thank you for that question. It really comes down to leadership. Actually having the ability to pull together the funds to ensure that your district is getting what is needed to actually do it. We're getting ready to pave Boone Boulevard from Northside Drive to Hightower to H.E. Holmes, depends on how long you've been in Atlanta. We're doing that with 3 different pots of money. You have to have the skills to pull that together. Then also, when I talk about leadership, when you talk about Atlanta Department of Transportation or the Department of Watershed Management, those 2 departments have had 2 to 3 different commissioners over the last 3 to 4 years, each one changing the direction of the organization. So when it comes to knowing how to pull money together, pulling the resources, knowing how to get the commissioners in the room and the mayor to get on board to do the right thing, that is a talent that is only built over time. Someone would tell you that these things only coming up because of election season. If they only knew what they was doing, it takes time to pull the money together and to have the skills to get it done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This question is going to be for anyone that wants to answer if it's.
Hold on one moment.
Anyone that wants to answer can answer, but we're going to start with the candidates for the school board first. And the question is, what position would you take when it comes to pushback to the superintendent or CFO for Atlanta Public Schools when they present to you school closures in NPUG? The second part of the question I'll ask after you answer.
Okay. Some of you walked in, so my name is Aisha Allen Stith. That is a very difficult question to answer. I have talked about the $1.85 billion that we oversee. My good counterpart has talked about our buildings that are underutilized or not utilized at all. We have to carefully figure out what's going to happen with our properties. All schools are not going to remain open. And let me tell you why. When you have a school that is underutilized and it remains open, you cannot get specialists in that school. We have seen what happened at Washington. They have had 3 principals in 3 years. That is unfair to the students. What we need is to figure out a plan that works for communities with the community voice first. Asking them, what is it that your community would like, and how can the school board be a partner in that? In some situations, it might be to keep a school open, and that is beautiful. In some situations, it might be to repurpose the school. And in some situations, it might be a merging. But the perspective we have to come from is the child first. What is every student in that building going to get?
10
and
seconds.
how are we going to ensure that they are getting something better than they are now? So I lead with the community voice, but also understanding what position APS is in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Am I waiting for part 2? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
But you actually kind of spoke on it when you spoke,
Oh,
so I
okay.
won't have to ask that question for you.
Okay.
Mr. Mann?
Thank you for this question. First, we need to rebuild trust. As a district, as I said before, we have dozens of vacant properties, schools that we have promised to repurpose in the past that we let sit here for decades, not actually serving our families. And so, of course, when we talk about repurposing more schools, there's not trust that we're actually going to follow through. We also need to ensure that we have strong schools in every neighborhood. And I know you don't like the word ensure, but I think that is something that we should work to ensure. Because then when we talk about rezoning schools, it's simply a discussion of geography and not a discussion about the quality of the education that your child is going to receive. Now, when it comes to the specific scenarios right now, I think we are really approaching it backwards. We were told for months that we couldn't talk and discuss the programs that would be offered in schools.
10
We had to
seconds.
just talk about the buildings, and now all of a sudden they're talking about programs. And I think that we need to discuss the innovative programs that we can bring back to our schools, like a School of the Arts, like a STEM
Time.
magnet program that will draw families back to our district before we just go closing more schools.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Mann.
you. Mr. Hillis?
Yeah, I'll just speak briefly on the school board thing. I'm going to defer to the school board members about that. And that is something I think it's important that people need to keep in mind, that we do have school board members. I've had to kind of educate residents about school board and elected officials as well, how they meaningfully offset over half of their elections to usual non-election years, and therefore turnout in school district 5, which is council districts 9 and 10, went from over 12,000 voters to just over 4,000 voters, and that was purposeful. Going to speaking truth to power on my side, you mentioned the superintendent. The school board will handle the superintendent, but I'm very proud to stand up for my district when it's appropriate.
10 seconds.
When I'm challenged by the mayor, and I was proud to lead the last term. Myself and Councilmember Bond supported me as well. Councilmember Amos is not with us yet, but led the first veto override effort over the Hollowell Parkway project that I mentioned earlier to get that project done in partnership with the state. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hillis.
Mr. Bourgeois?
So I think historically, when we talk about APS and the city of Atlanta, there has been a little bit of like a imaginary line drawn in the sand. I think mainly because the budgets are different, the personnel are different, and maybe the core priorities don't always match up. But in the time in which we are now, knowing that we have communities that have issues that start at the root, at the very core of problem solving in our families, at the household, that is the priority. So anyone that will tell you that the children and the family is not the priority is misleading you and is lying to you. Because I will tell you, my opponent has never had any programs for APS that will support students and make sure that students can get on the right track directly from the city to put neighbors or families
10 seconds.
to succeed. So the goal here is to make sure when we talk about the city and APS that we can build real programs that work for people, for students
Time.
to succeed. Thank you.
Because, Mr. Bourgeois, you mentioned your opponent, Councilmember Hillis, you have 30 seconds to respond.
Thank you. As I've mentioned multiple times in this forum, we have an elected school board just like we have an elected city council. And while we collaborate, I speak with the chair currently is the District 5 member, Ms. Mitchell. We collaborate on things. I've attended the meetings about the school closures, et cetera. people need to hold all of their elected officials accountable. And I need to focus on what I need to focus on with the city, but also collaborating with the school board, the state, and the county. And if you want to be so involved in schools, as I've heard from a number of folks, maybe you should run for school board.
Thank you, Mr. Hillis.
Dr. Love, and then.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that I
Bourgeois.
think that the collaboration between the city and the public school board are very important. I announced publicly that I'm having a One Humanity executive director, Dr. Stacey Lang. She's done $5 billion in federal faith-based contracts. She's going to work across coordination of nonprofits and education. Now, the purpose was not to usurp public education, but instead to partner with them and really look for creative ways to fund new programming or get those few federal contracts to our city. Use these concepts of AI and tech as a test bed in our city to get more dollars here. I think we need to take as collaborative approach as possible in our city with the largest wealth gap. These types of next level collaborations are going to be really key to our city's survival.
Thank you. Okay, this question is to Mr. Bond, and
Just a quick point
Yes.
of order. Mr. Bourgeois, I did see your hand, and I just want you to understand, because Councilmember Hillis did not mention you, there will be no need for a rebuttal. Okay? I'm sorry?
He didn't by name?
Not by name. He didn't say my opponent. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Mr. Bond, I'm going to pose you questions. We've been going on over quite a bit of subjects here. However, I do want to ask you a question in reference to public safety. What investments will you make in violence prevention and mental health services as it relates to public safety?
Thank you very much for the question. One of the things that I've done this year is I introduced legislation to call upon Fulton County and the City of Atlanta to put together a joint human services authority. According to the city's charter, the city doesn't provide those services, the counties do. And so we would be asking to have this authority created in part not only to perform human services, but to develop housing and transitional housing for our unhoused in this city. Under HUD rules, AHA, which is our housing authority, cannot build transitional or homeless shelters. We have a joint authority already with Fulton County in our water sewer division in North Fulton, so we would repeat that pattern
10
to
seconds.
make sure that we have those services that are provided for our citizens.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we come to the point where if there are any members in the audience that would like to pose a question to any of the candidates, you can step up to the microphone and state your name and your question clearly, and make sure that the microphone is as close to your mouth as possible. Thank you.
And for those
Thank
of
you,
you,
Mr. Meredith.
And for those
Servant
of you,
leadership. Look at this, public servant leadership here.
For those of you that have questions, as you come up to the podium, please make sure you speak directly into the mic as close as possible and speak up so that we can hear your question. If the question is for a particular candidate, you can call their name, or you can open up the question for whomever would like to respond.
Testing. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Angela Harris, and I have a two-part question because I am a Florida resident, but I live part-time here in Georgia because I own a business, a real estate company. And literally today, I just won court with one of those slumlords that you guys were talking about. And what me and my family went through has been horrific. As a real estate agent and a person who has always had a home, I'm literally homeless right now. And it was so bad to the point where they want to come back to the judge in 30 days because that's how much money they owe me right now. They're trying to figure out what settlement they're going to offer me. But how could this have been prevented? You know, I had to get code enforcement involved. They were backed up 30 days. Took them over 30 days to come see what I was talking about. And this whole entire time, you know, I was stressed out, anxiety, and my family could have died in this house because it had that many electrical issues going on, sewage gas, mold. That is the reason why I'm talking like this as well, because I'm seeing a healthcare professional because I have sinusitis, and the mold has affected me. So as my leaders, what are y'all going to put in place to protect us from this happening, even before you go into the home? Because this company did not allow me to look at this home. Their rules are they will not let you look at the home again until after you paid the deposit, went through the application process, and then the day of move-in at midnight, when midnight hits, that's when they give you the access to the home. Had I had access a day before, or the property manager would have showed up, never seen the property manager until today, this would have been prevented. But now I can sue them for millions because of what has been done. They said, oh my God, their lawyer is on my side. He said, you're the perfect tenant. You're so organized, you got everything. He said, ma'am, would you please give us 30 days to come back with an offer? So what are y'all gonna do to protect us?
Hold on 1 second.
No, because I can't afford it after paying them. My question is, what protections are y'all gonna put in place? And also to help with the affordability of the homes. We all know they doubled when COVID hit.
Thank you, Ms. Harris.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you for your story as well.
Councilmember Bond, I saw your hand first. I would allow you to respond. Thank you.
Well, what we're currently doing in the Post 1 office is that we're working with our law department to develop a piece of legislation to require that certificates of occupancy for properties isn't a one-time process in the city of Atlanta. So that if a situation like yours, where there are many, many code violations, that those who are operating those properties could lose their certificates of occupancy until either those repairs are made or they could lose it altogether if they're not in compliance, because that's not currently in the housing code office. There is a process that exists today that came out of the code where we authorize our public defender's office to assist Atlanta citizens with their situations with their landowners, to give them free legal advice, because you really do need an attorney. And so I don't know if you've gone to Atlanta Legal Aid, but you can call
10 seconds.
Kenneth Day in the public defender's office of the city of Atlanta. I can give you the number after we sit down, but you call 311, you should be able to get his number. And they provide free legal counseling in situations like yours.
Thank you, Mr. Bond.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Say, do not go in there unprotected. You can call any lawyer. I mean, you can give them your case. They're not going to take it if they don't think they can win. You should not go in there unprotected. They're fancying you by saying you're the perfect tenant, and they're going to lowball you. Do not walk into that courtroom in 30 days without a public defender or an attorney to represent you.
Ms. Steed, would you please
I am not an attorney.
Would you please make sure you see her afterwards, please?
Certainly.
Thank you. Anyone else?
She sounds like she has some valuable information for you, so please don't leave without speaking with her. Did anyone else want to speak? Anybody else want to respond?
Ms. Harris's
Mr. Bourgeois?
question.
So first of all, thank you for sharing your story. I think it's important as a learning lesson for everyone that can take key learnings from you to make sure that we can prevent others from having the same experience. So thank you for sharing. I think also too, this is another prime example of the current state of our governance not being centered around people. And not to say that it's done intentionally, that it's done with ill, but I think that we need to center our solutions around preparing people to succeed. And I believe that starts by flagging those homes and those addresses that are repeat code enforcement violators with tags, and making this information publicly available by a user-friendly database on code enforcement, so that before you even decide to rent a property you can't see, you'll be able to see whether or not this is a habitual
10
violator
seconds.
year over year, to make sure this doesn't happen again like anyone like you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, you can step up.
Step up.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Diane Clare. I am actually a landlord-tenant attorney.
There we go.
I
don't know,
timing.
you may not.
And I have
may not have
assisted
said that.
residents with that issue. My question is posed to the Atlanta Public School Board candidates. I'm also a proud APS mom of a kindergartner. And you guys mentioned earlier the issue with public safety and increasing after-school programs as a resolution possibly to that. Well, I would like to say that after school was a nightmare. It still is. There's not enough after-school options for parents. And with hearing the large budget that you guys have, my question is, do you guys have plans to expand after-school programs for the children?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that it's both with the budget, but also with the space that we have, the real estate. I've talked to business owners, nonprofit leaders who have existing programs, but want to expand those and need space. And they would love to come into our schools, but don't know how. And so I think that's where we start. Instead of reinventing the wheel, we look at the organizations and the businesses that already provide apprenticeship programs, after-school programs, whether that's job training programs, art-based programs, athletic programs, and we offer them use of the vacant properties that we have. I think it's pretty simple, but we actually need leaders who are willing to be innovative and willing to bring together those partners to get it done.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Mann.
I empathize with you. I don't know if you were here earlier. I have 3 children in APS. The cost of child rearing is astronomical. Don't get me started on the cost of aftercare. My answer is the same, however. Again, with $1.85 billion, you cannot tell me you can't provide quality after-school care for all of our 47,000 students. We don't even have the 70,000 students that we would like to have. So I think it is that painstaking work of going through the line item by line item, taking out what does not work so that we can offer quality aftercare. Because I know in my neck of the woods, the problem is you have to get online at 12 a.m. for the 2 seats that are available, and if you don't get on first, your child can't get in. And or the cost is so great, you're trying to figure out, if you have multiple children, you're trying to figure out, well, what can
10
I
seconds.
do? And this is public education. It is there for the greater good of us all. And I know that is an issue we can solve, and we can solve it quickly, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Clare.
Good evening. I
Good
have
evening.
2 questions. One for the mayor of the city next to Councilman Bond. That would be you, right? Okay. Let me start by saying that I retired with
Excuse me.
37 years in the Department of Treasury.
Excuse me,
in the
ma'am.
Federal government.
Excuse me, ma'am. And your name, please?
I didn't hear you.
Your name?
Kathy.
Kathy. Thank you.
I retired with 37 years in the Department of Treasury in the federal government. My position was a project manager. I reconfigured and designed office space in federal buildings. I was given a budget anywhere from $10,000 to $1 million. Now, when you speak of corruption in the city, we have an administration now that has abolished many federal agencies. I feel that these people are my sisters and brothers all over the United States of America when you say federal workers. They've been fired from their jobs, but what we've heard was corruption from the chief all the way down to the custodial worker, and the buildings were closed down. And I never really heard what corruption was. Now, granted that everybody that works does something a little wrong every now and then. So what I'm asking of you is, and I guess I'm compassionate with the city workers that are there now, will you have proof? I didn't know if you said it or not. Will you have the compassion to not literally fire people because you say there's corruption, or will you show the city the corruption? That's my question.
That's a great question. So we don't know everything that the Office of Inspector General had reported when she left the position. So there's going to need to be some time to look into those pieces. There are areas like city pension, watershed, and others that I would do forensic audits of to look at those areas. Another thing is I was very specific about detail. So I have walked into about 4 different jobs in which I was responsible for thousands of employees. You never go into anything like that messy. You go in and you take the care of doing detailed work to truly understand what people are doing, what service you're going to impact. And sometimes the answer is, we're not going to need 10 people here, we're going to need 4, but now can these 6 do this other thing that maybe our MPUs are complaining about, or another need that in the city
10
that
seconds.
needs to be done. So those are very judicious, detailed things. I lead with that level of consistency, and I do think that people would get to and should know
Time.
what's going on specifically.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Meredith, would you like to speak to the question? Oh, no, there you go. There's your. We need your mic for streaming online. Yes.
I share Dr. Love's concern, especially with the corruption inside with the Inspector General and her authority being removed by City Council. I think that kind of speaks for itself about what's going on in the city of Atlanta. Why would her authority be revoked in the city of Atlanta? Also, another case with Shanae Hall and her mother working for the city of Atlanta being fired because she decided to put on a video about what happened with Shaka Zulu and him being at incidents at apartment 4B. And this was back in like 22. So I definitely think the concern with
10 seconds
working and keeping people's jobs safe in the city of Atlanta is like a top priority of mine as well.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to respond to this.
Okay.
I think that I think the facts about particularly an Office of Inspector General or an Office of Ethics is extremely important. An Inspector General is meant to protect you, the employees. It is not meant to protect the corruption. The point of the Inspector General is to make sure that there is a place for employees to be able to go and to say, hey, this doesn't feel right. Will you look into this? And to be able to do it anonymously. Because the greatest theft that happens inside of government agencies is not the stealing of materials, it's often the stealing of wages. It is not paying people appropriately. It is not treating employees with dignity and respect, or creating the fear of retaliation. The point of the Inspector General, what we did was exactly
10
what
seconds.
happened nationally. We fired the Inspector General, dismantled the office, and to this day, there is not a board of directors that is meeting
Time.
that oversees the Office of the Inspector General. I think that is troubling for employees for the city of Atlanta.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Rohit. And Kathy, did you have something else
Yes.
you wanted to ask?
My
Go
last
ahead.
question is for the candidates for District 9. Now I'll tell you my life story. My mother is 90 years old right now, and she moved on Browntown Road in Northwest Atlanta when she was 8 years of age. She's seen a lot of change, a lot of things happen, and new things occur and rise in the community. What we're looking for a representative for District 9 is someone who can give us transparency. Let me give an example. The history of Scott Crossing came from a gentleman by the name of Reverend William J. Scott. If not for him, this particular part of the area would not have been established for black people. We had black grocery store. He established a post office. Well, we had to pick our post. Well, I was a little girl, but I was told that our mailman was a black man that came through from the mail room from the Chattahoochee area or the Riverside area, because all of that was a separated area at that time. He created Scott Elementary School. The things that we see and have here now that are literally perishing under the new resurrection of people moving here and old places being demolished and new things coming up at a higher cost that some of our senior citizens can't even pay their property taxes. Okay? That's another bad thing that's happening here. But we want to make Scott Crossing not a community that goes away under a new reconstruction, but as an establishment of black history and history in itself. We have established a Scott Crossing community committee. We meet about once a month. We'll have a meeting, I think, the second Saturday in November. We ask you all, invite you all to come and listen
November
in.
8th.
It's November 8th.
I didn't hear you.
It's November 8th.
November the 8th, thank you. At the fire station.
Yes,
on
Fire
Hollywood
Station
Road,
28.
Right. I consider, and I'm certainly trying to understand if Scott Elementary and this community is a historical community. And that's what we want to establish that. And that we need help with. We want to resurrect his life and what he contributed to this community. He's buried across the street from the school in a burial ground that's wooded lots. Nobody would even know there's a grave there. We need help with that. We need something that's resurrected to show his contribution to this community. We're asking for transparency in all of those areas for him and for the community. I'm also concerned about the closing of Scott Elementary School. If we're ridding ourselves of the history of this community, the Scott Elementary School is a prime example of what he created. If they eliminate this school and take away the name, what do we have left? What do we have left? Are we not a part of Buckhead? Does Buckhead not have historical sites and are not forgotten about? There was a time when we were not able to cross over the bridge from Riverside. At night, they said, don't come over there. I remember that. I remember that. And what I'm asking of each of you who are running for the District 9, that you support us. And anything that we ask of you, our citizens on Browntown Road are retired postal workers, Delta. My mother is a retired school teacher. As a matter of fact, she even taught at Chattahoochee Elementary School for a term. So what we need is our support of the district person that's going to represent us. I wish you both the best in your votes to help us, to help erect and keep the memory of Scott Crossing and our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Ms.
Mr. Bourgeois,
Kathy.
hold on 1 second. Okay, because that question is specific for District 9, we want to start with Councilmember Hillis first, and then Mr. Bourgeois, we'll go directly to you.
Thank you for that history and the feedback. On the cemetery, I have started working with, not just specific to that one, but there are a number of abandoned cemeteries across the city and certainly District 9. Department of City Planning, we're trying to get a program together to revitalize and restore those cemeteries. On Browntown Road specifically, the latest project I worked on over there, took some wrangling with ATO DOT, but we finally got speed tables on the section of Browntown between Hollywood and James Jackson Parkway. ATO DOT completed those about a month or two ago after I gave them some funding for those, and definitely want to attend your neighborhood committees and meetings. Would love to see more neighborhoods get together and have those community meetings within MPUG and across the district. So I will look forward to, and I will commit to attending that meeting on November 8th.
Thank you, Councilmember Hillis. Mr. Bourgeois.
First, I want to say thank you very, very much for giving the history of your experience in Atlanta specific to Scotts Crossing. I then secondly want to say that I have knocked on 12,000 doors at this point. And when I knock on doors on the southern side of town, it's a much different experience than when I knock on doors on the northern side of town. This is the tale of two districts in which, depending on where you turn, you will get a very different experience. One side of the district, you may fear for your life and get robbed. The other side of the district, you will end up in a location where there are smoother streets and ice cream, and there is economic viability. We're in the part of the district now that doesn't have a grocery store. We're in the part of the district now where on Browntown, it took until a car flipped over and someone almost died to get speed bumps on Browntown after asking for not 1 year, 2 years, but 3 years of having the same conversation with your elected official and them either A, deciding not to return your call, or B, deciding else not to. And so when we talk about Scotts Crossing and Cary Park and Almond Park, and we talk about the historic neighborhoods of this side of town, we have to
10
have
seconds.
people who understand, right, what it means to be a part of a community that has been overlooked. I intend to show up every day and deliver on an issue to make sure we are doing our part,
Time.
because we have not seen that yet from the people that have represented us on this part of town.
Thank you, Mr. Bourgeois. Sir?
Hello, my name is Alan Holmes, and I just have a question specifically for the school board candidates around skilled trades and workforce development. So we've talked a lot about income inequality, jobs, but one of the things that I think APS can improve on is engaging the kids at the schools to let them know about skilled trade opportunities that are available. We need 400,000 more plumbers nationally by 2030 and over 450,000 electricians. The problem with APS right now is that while the ACCA, the Career Academy, is actually effective, the kids have to travel to this facility if they want to be involved, and a lot of kids don't even know it exists. So what are you all going to do to ensure that kids in every high school or even middle school are engaged about skilled trade opportunities? Because with all this construction going on the west side, the east side, the south side, very few of the people on the actual site, from the electricians to the electrical engineer to the foreman, are even residents of this city. So what are you all going to do about that specifically?
Ms. Steed?
Yes, I am so excited about this question, and you can know that I'm true to it because it is in my campaign video. I cannot for the life of me understand why we are not talking about trade in today's world. And you don't need to take my word for it. Brian Wang, the billionaire executive of NVIDIA, said the other day, your next class of millionaires is going to come out of your plumbers and your electricians. Where are they going to come from if we don't equip them? So you are speaking my language. In high school, quite frankly, is too late. If you're learning a trade, and first of all, it's aptitude. It's asking a kid, what are you interested in? You know, that child who's running around the classroom, he may not want to be at a computer all day in his future. But if you show him a trade where he can be working with his hands and out in the public and moving up and down, that could be the pathway to a brilliant and bright future. Not to mention, I think that we also have to partner with it entrepreneurship. Don't just teach me a trade, teach me how to make my own business. And that is another thing that APS can do, quite frankly, very easily. So I expect to see a lot more emphasis and accessible means of students being able to explore career paths in trade. And I want to be careful, because I'm not pushing a certain kind of kid into a trade and another kid into college, because we get into that very sticky situation. It's whether or not, what does the child want to do? You know, there are some kids who are being pushed into collegiate paths. That is not what they want to do. And then there's the opposite. So it's going to that child early enough, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, what do you think you want to do, and exposing them to that. And the trade skills has got to be a #1 priority. I tried to get a plumber a couple months ago. I mean, weeks and weeks and weeks, and it is not fixed. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mann?
I agree with what's been said. I would just add on a couple points. To your point around bringing these programs into our schools and not just building out off-campus options like the ACCA, we need to ensure that every school offers a wide array of career pathways. As I discussed before, we have high schools that offer almost 10, high schools that offer only 2, and that is not equity. We also need to work with local businesses and especially with our unions. Of course, Georgia is not a huge union state because we have right-to-work laws, but we still have unions that want to come into our schools. I'm proud to have the support of the Atlanta North Georgia Labor Council, as well as unions including the Teamsters and the Georgia Federation of Teachers. I've discussed with leaders of these unions ways that we can build out more partnerships and programs within our schools, because these union leaders are looking for more folks to come into the
10 seconds.
ranks. And lastly, we need to have, as Aisha was saying, the mindset that students
Time.
aren't just going towards college or career, but that we're preparing all students to have the option for both.
Mr. Bourgeois?
So it was mentioned earlier that if I care so much about kids, I should run for school. Well, I also care about senior citizens losing their home. That doesn't mean that I want to run for county commissioner. When we talk about the issues that plague us, we have to be very specific about solutions. And when we're talking about college students, or rather high school students or middle school students, preparing them for the future, we have to make sure that we are equipped and prepared as a city to do just that. When we talk about where our future is going to go, the high school kids that are running around breaking the doors, serving us water, are the kids that need to be prepared for said future. So I detail a very specific policy that is able to support APS through an incentive workforce development public partnership program. And that's what we're describing, a world in which when you are a junior and a senior, you can be able to build up skill sets so when you graduate senior year, you're certified in a trade. That is how we go after poverty. That is how we make our streets safer. That is how we push down juvenile crime and raise our graduation
10 seconds.
rates while making our neighborhoods safer. There is a world in which the city of Atlanta supports APS and propels our youth to be able to have skilled labor as they grow up in inner
Time.
cities with livable wages.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lala. I'm a mother of 3. And my concern is right now, 42 million people are relying on SNAP. The government is shutting everything down right now, and now these families, these children, are going to be hungry. They're going to be starving. Also, the WIC. The formula is very high. It's about $30 to $40 per can of formula. What about the babies? So to me, that is going to cause more problems. I'm hearing on Instagram that they're going to start looting. They're going to start looting. They're going to start robbing people. They're going to start shooting, killing, doing whatever they can to make sure that they're eating and that they're surviving. Not only that, we have a lot of homeless people downtown. Nobody is worried about the homeless people and that there's women out there, the kids don't have no shelter right now, and it's getting cold outside. So where is the people at? Where's the community at to come and make sure that we are making sure that these kids are getting provided for? It seems like everybody is for self right now. They're not thinking about the bigger picture. It's bigger than us. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than all of us. We need to tackle down in the community where we need to really focus at when these families, people are losing their jobs. People are losing their homes. People are hurting. It's holiday season, okay? Thanksgiving is coming up. Christmas is coming up. All of these things are happening right here in the community, right here all over the world. This is global. This is not just in Atlanta. But what are we going to do as the community to make sure that these kids are eating properly after they take away the benefits of the SNAP?
I can
Just
answer for
just
APS.
right quick, 1 second. We're going to have a hard stop at 8:45 because all of the candidates have to have an opportunity to make their closing statements, as well as us. So just keep that in mind when you all are giving your responses.
I'll be very quick. Let's hope that doesn't happen. All of us, each and every one of us, needs to be writing, calling, emailing, texting all of our elected officials. I'm not talking about us here. We don't control that, although we need to be doing the calling and the emailing. But APS should put together a comprehensive plan as to where families will be able to get food if the worst case scenario should happen. The schools will be able to cover the cost so that students have food during school, but I realize that doesn't help with breakfast, that does not help with dinner. But I think APS will get into the mode of protecting its community vastly. I feel very secure. As a non-board member, I feel very secure that that will happen. And hopefully communication will go out so families know exactly where to be able to get those food items if they need it.
Good suggestion. Mr. Rohit first. Sorry.
Since we're not
Sorry,
going to go in
first.
any particular order, if you all want to respond, if you'll go ahead and just pick up the mic and stand so we can go ahead and
Speak
recognize
quickly.
you.
Thank you.
I believe that the solution to families not having enough money is money. I don't think that public policy needs to be so complicated, that we live in a city that has so much wealth, so much abundance, that we have people who are wondering where they're going to get formula from. That is a policy problem. These things are not an act of God. They are the failure of man. And it is extremely important that you elect officials who actually understand public policy that can address these issues head on. There are programs across the country that are being used to make sure that no mother, no family ever has to worry about this. like universal basic income, baby bond programs, like programs that actually work. Rather than telling people, let's make
10
you go
seconds.
through a program just to tell you the circumstances that you're going through, let's just solve the problem. If folks don't have enough money to eat, and the minimum wage in this state
Time.
is $5.15 an hour, it is the city's responsibility to act.
Thank you.
Dr. Love?
Yeah. So I do believe that the wealth gap is the largest moral issue that's facing our society today. My belief is that by stepping up and bringing that to the issue, and frankly, as a Republican, bringing everyone to the table and saying we need to solve this with wealth sharing programs. We need to look at, with the state, what are the price of groceries? What can we do locally to start sourcing groceries locally so that we can
10 seconds.
afford these groceries? We've got to start being really creative in an Atlanta and Georgia first program, because it's every state out for itself. And you're going to have
Time.
economic leaders who know how to be creative to win this for the people.
Thank you, Dr. Love.
We'll go to Council Member Bond, and then Mr. Meredith.
Thank you very much for your concern in raising the issue. I began a food program almost 5 years ago now, during the pandemic, in a partnership with Second Helpings Atlanta, HelloFresh, and other donors. We distributed, as of April of this year, 1.4 million meals a week to Atlantans. HelloFresh has left the market, so my office has taken over the expense of providing
10 seconds.
these meals. We're looking at doing it we're doing it every 2 weeks now. I'm looking at my budget to see if we can do it weekly. We had about 700 cars in the line last week.
Time.
So follow us on Facebook. We'll post the activity.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because I deal so closely with the homeless and people, low-income families, and people that don't have shelter, directly, there are multiple nonprofit organizations right now, but they're outside of the city of Atlanta, and that's kind of a problem. So I will be able to get those resources over to whoever's
10 seconds.
family that needs food, even clothes, shelter, hygiene, over to them that have already partnered with me to help in that
Time.
situation, just in case. Well, not just in case, because the government is going to shut down. So I will be able to help with that situation.
Thank you, Mr. Meredith.
Thank you.
Mr. Mann? Yeah, I just had one more thought, which is we need to work in coalition with other local governments across the state. It is especially rural Republican areas that are dealing with the most when it comes to food insecurity and poverty in many cases, and are bearing the brunt of some of the cuts that we're seeing. We can
10
find
seconds.
common ground with these other localities and go to the state capitol and advocate on behalf of our constituents, and that's what we need to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Carson?
Good evening. My
Good evening.
name is Farrah, and I live on Browntown Road. And I would just like to say this. I don't believe I have a question, but if anybody would like to answer, I would appreciate it. We have been begging for speed bumps, breakers, whatever you want to call them, for over 10 years. Back in August, a car came down from Hollywood Road. They took my whole yard out. They took my mailbox. They took my fence. They took the power pole that was in my yard. I had no power. Georgia Power gave me to run around and the church about replacing the pole. I had no power from August 11th to August the 18th. I had a grandson that lived with me. He was going through chemo. My house was hot. But this person came along, and this person helped me. Now, only thing I would have to say, we in Northwest Atlanta, we get the end of everything. So if anybody would like to answer my question, why do Browntown, why do we have to beg? Why do we have to plead? Why do we have to almost lose our life? I almost lost my life and my grandson because what happened in my yard, and still I have not had everything replaced. So why do we on Browntown, why do we have to be the end of everything? I have been in my home ever since 1998. I have lived here. I worked at Scott Elementary School. I have lived in the area all my life, 78 years. I came from Rockdale Park. And I'd like to know, why can't we get what we need sometime without begging? Anyone would like to answer, I would appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will start with Councilmember Hillis first,
Thank you,
followed by
ma'am.
Mr. Bourgeois.
Yeah, thank you for that. So very familiar with that incident. As soon as that happened and I found out about it, I came to your house and talked to you, and you told me what had happened, and we talked about the speed tables, and I immediately called Georgia Power, and they came to, you want me to respond? They came to your house, and then they gave us the runaround that they had to talk to the city planning department. So then I immediately called the city planning department, and they had to get a permit. So I ensured that was done. And so, I don't have direct purview over Georgia Power, and I'll just take a minute to bring up two other very important races. The Public Service Commission is who oversees Georgia Power, and they need to be held accountable. So I hope you'll support the Democratic candidates on the top of the ballot. And on the speed table issue, I'm very familiar with it. There's a whole list of speed tables that still have not been done across the city. It's pages long. The process is that we have to put in, or a resident can put in request a study. And there's a major backlog. They even stopped doing them for 6+ months. And when I say they, it's ATL-DOT. And that I was escalated that up to the mayor because we do not control our city departments. The mayor of Atlanta is the CEO and president of the city, and I am one person on the board of directors, so to speak. And so I went to work. We got the speed tables done after I talked to the mayor, and they're in place now. And I also called Georgia Power to get your power restored. Thank you.
Mr. Bourgeois.
This hurts my heart. And I'm going to be honest. For me to listen to this and that response about hearing Ms. Hendricks without power for a week, to talk about another race and another election, and then to bring up the mayor and how it's on the mayor when Ms. Hendricks did the work, talked to the neighbors, knocked on the doors, got the signatures, requested years after years after years after years for a speed table, speed bumps, because she lives next to a church and across from a school. And it is very unsatisfactory. I cannot describe the level of pain that it is to walk up on a street, see a
10
car
seconds.
flipped over, and see someone bleeding on the street, that it has to take until someone almost dies to get the service that this neighborhood needs. This is just another example as to why this neighborhood needs proper representation that's going to take care of the needs the same way the needs are taken care of on the northern side.
Time. Thank you, Mr. Bourgeois. Good evening, Dr. Carson.
Dr. Carson.
My name is Arthur Carson. I'm senior pastor of Springfield Baptist Church. Our church is the community church. That's why you're here tonight, because we believe in engagement in community. But I do have a concern. A few years ago, 2-3 years ago, we started a process of getting a digital board out front sign. We did everything that we were asked to do. We got it zoned. We went down to the meetings, and we thought we had the permit until they told us at the end of the process that we had the wrong zoning. We had spent $3,000, $4,000, and that they need to tell us. So I want to know from you tonight, how do you streamline permitting? That's my question.
All right.
Who wants to take
so we're going to start with Councilmember Hillis. Then we'll go to Mr. Bourgeois and anyone else after that. Dr. Love. In that order, please.
Thank you, Dr. Carson, for that info. And we've talked about this when the process started, and I introduced the legislation, which was approved, as you mentioned. And then I've come to find out that the Department of City Planning, once again, has failed us. So I have gotten a email from, I believe, someone,
Gene Smith.
New position.
Eugene
And
Smith.
so
10 seconds.
I have a meeting set up with the Department of City Planning next week to go over that. And just like I did with another case where someone was told one thing
Time.
and then something else happened, we're going to take care of it.
Mr. Bourgeois.
Thank you, Reverend Carson.
Right quick, Mr. Bourgeois, right before you get started. We had a hard stop at 8:45, but these are very important issues that need to be answered. So if anyone needs to leave, I totally understand. I'm committed to staying here so that everyone has an opportunity to ask their questions and get their answers. Go ahead, Mr. Bourgeois.
Thank you, Reverend Carson. First, I want to say thank you for your leadership in this place of worship as Springfield Baptist Church is near and dear to the community. And I think that you are not here asking this question because you want to know how to improve streamlining. You're indeed talking to the individuals that affect streamlining on your behalf.
10 seconds.
And I know that you've had a conversation with the previous person in the seat, and that person was unable to simply do the job to make sure that you had what
Time.
you needed effectively.
Time.
And so, once again, this is just another example of
Time.
us not taking care of our neighborhood.
Dr. Love.
Yeah, I just want to say this issue, just like the one similarly, I hear this everywhere in so many neighborhoods. I lived in Old Fourth Ward for 7 years. My friends lived in Edgewood. The transparency and visibility to how long things are taking in process means that us, the citizens, are kind of like the customers. We need more transparency to how each of these processes go for our citizens, where they can see accountability and track their issues. I would like to see the city of Atlanta have more visibility to all these areas directly to the public, so that's shared and known, and then you all can actually be, put more pressure on everyone. Part of that is making us more accountable, and I think there's a lot of look at the process and the way we're organized that needs to be looked at the city. This is something that I did all the time with customer support in large corporations. Same thing for our citizens. We need to be responsive and organized and transparent in how we're working with the community.
Thank you, Dr. Love.
Anybody else?
Anyone else want to
Mr.
respond?
Bond,
Mr.
let me hear
Rohit.
from you.
I think Mr. Rohit. Okay, Mr. Bond.
Thank you, Reverend, for your question. This has been a chronic problem with the city, and part of what I'm personally working on, because I had a similar issue with another group that was trying to rezone the property, is to make sure that we have a visible portal so people can track, one, their permit online, not just depending on the emails from the Department of Planning, but also I want to always encourage people to get with your council person first, because we also have the ability to legislate your permit.
10 seconds.
So you don't necessarily have to go through the planning department. But having said that, the planning department's project has to be modernized, and it has to be visually tracked through a portal, and that's what
Time. Thank you, Councilmember Bond.
Yeah.
Mr. Rohit.
So thank you again for having us here. Consequence and accountability. The problem is that there's never been a consequence to these processes continuously not working for people. We instead just say, well, too bad. We'll just get it better next time. I think we have to elect different people who are willing to hold these departments to
10
account.
seconds.
We are responsible for the budgeting process. We should be saying
that if we are not, the city council needs to make sure that the city is investing in this modernization that we're talking
Time.
about. But that is a city council responsibility. That is not some boogeyman that goes
Time.
and does it. It's the city council. So we
Time.
need to make sure we're investing in these infrastructure upgrades.
Thank you,
Time,
Mr.
sir.
Rohit.
Can I ask one
Thank
more
you.
question?
Yes.
I want to ask this question of the board members who are running for APS. I'm deeply concerned, as you heard earlier, that Mr. Reverend W.J. Scott, then this community is named after him. He was a pioneer. This community would not be what it is without the Reverend W.J. Scott. Our church is what he pastored. And then in 1949, the school board decided to build Scott Elementary School. And because he started the school on our property, they named the school that APS built after him. We're at the point now where that's about to go out of existence. Do you realize what that is? That's a large chunk of black history in this community. They closed Pitts Elementary. They closed Archer High School. And now they're after the last vestige of black history in this community. I need to know from you, how do you feel about the loss of history, especially black history, in a black community named after a black man?
We'll start with Miss Steeth, and then we'll go to Mr. Mann.
I am deeply concerned about the erasure of black culture, studies, history, people. It is happening before our eyes. So I tell everyone on a personal note, document everything because they are going to take it away. And that stands for a lot of minority groups. I don't know enough about Scott to speak about. Are you concerned of it closing or
10
not
seconds.
being supported?
Both.
Closing, I would have to look at the numbers, and I spoke earlier. Dr.
That's what
Carson.
everybody say.
Well, no,
I'm
but
talking
the-
about history. I ain't talking about
But
closing.
the history can be preserved. I don't know that a school can remain open if it cannot serve the community. That is what I said earlier. It has to have a community voice. If you don't have enough students, you can't get teachers. You can't get a counselor. You can't get a principal. You can't get a program.
Time.
You can't get sports. So I would have to look at that in a detailed way to be able to speak to that intelligently.
That's eliminating our history.
I think the history can still be preserved, respectfully.
Thank you, Dr.
Mr.
Carson.
Mann.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Mann. Go ahead.
I am appalled at the erasure of history, especially black history, especially the history of indigenous people in this country, and the histories of all communities that have historically been marginalized. And we're not just seeing this in the classroom, but as you speak to, we're seeing this with how we approach infrastructure as well. And as I spoke to before, I believe that the board has not sufficiently invested in our under-enrolled schools to bring in innovative programs that can draw families back. And I think that that's what we should focus on first. But if the decision is made to repurpose the building, we need to ensure that the identity is kept and that that building continues to serve our communities. If it's not as an elementary school, it could be as an early learning site for pre-K. And it could still be named after Reverend Scott. But no matter what we do, we need to rebuild trust that we will actually continue
10
to serve
seconds.
communities with the facilities that we have, and that we will preserve the history that is at the forefront and lies beneath these facilities.
Time.
Because they're not simply
Time. Mr. Bond.
Councilmember Bond.
Thank you. I want to specifically speak to you about the history. I've created several historic trails and have placed many historical markers around the city. And we did that by creating a commission to laser focus on whatever the historical topic was. I'm more than happy to work with you and the community to develop an official city commission to commemorate
10 seconds.
the history. And I'm also working on a permanent historical commission broadly for the city of Atlanta. But we can meet and we can introduce that legislation.
Time.
Quickly.
Thank you, Councilmember Bond.
Thank you, Mr. Bond.
Thank you.
Answers my question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Carson. Yes, ma'am.
I won't take all of y'all guys' time.
Well,
'cause I know it's late.
take your time. Do not rush.
All right. Well, my name is Shanika, and I'm a doctor of psychiatry. Particularly, I deal with patients with mental illness and substance abuse illness. Where 60% of my patients live in the city of Atlanta. So I hear everybody talking about Cop City. I'm not really sure what this Cop City is and what this Cop City is supposed to provide. However, I want someone to answer my question as to why, when I call 911 for a patient that lives in Atlanta, it takes over 2 hours for them to arrive at this patient's home. And I'm on the phone trying to keep this patient from committing suicide. Somebody answer that question for me.
One second.
I'm happy to answer that.
For those,
Mentalness-
wait,
Hold on.
1 second. For those of you that want to respond, as he just did, please pick up the mic and stand. 30 seconds, please.
Absolutely. Mental illness strikes home to my family. My nephew had a psychotic break and had an officer luckily trained in mental health counseling, so he was able to respond. So we have got to make sure we're giving our officers great training on how to spot mental illness and how to refer over to our PAD services so that when you do call, they're being resourced right away. So they're not getting bogged down in 911
10
having
seconds.
to call 311. It's also about educating our public to know to call 311 to get those PAD services as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to Mr. Meredith.
I believe it's a replacement for the officers that want to take 2 hours to show up on a call. If that's their area, if that's their precinct, then we need officers that want to serve the community, that want to be in place, that want to be there 10 minutes to the call. So we need to put people that are there not just for the paycheck, but there because of the people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Meredith. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yes, so I believe quickly we need to rethink the way that our public safety strategy is positioned. Having police is just one part of a comprehensive strategy in which PAD needs to be fully funded in order for us to realize a solution to this very problem that you're talking about. Oftentimes you will call 911 and 911 won't come with an emergency call if your call doesn't sound life-threatening, because we are not able to currently differentiate between emergencies that are going to kill someone literally with a gun or versus emergency that will kill someone with mental illness.
10 seconds.
That is our pledge and promise that we need to have for the citizens in Atlanta, so that 311 can be something that you call not just for trash, but for direct access to mental health services, deploy people to those issues and make sure that those are done just as effectively as there are for
Time.
crimes in the city.
Dr. Shanika, real quick, if you don't mind, I'd like to clarify the question because I would like to see if your question can be answered. Okay?
Yeah, the thing is, you say a lot about PAD, and that's good. I love that. But however, why is it different in the city of Atlanta versus when I call for a patient in Alpharetta, Johns Creek, Cumming, that police is on site in 5 minutes. So what's the difference?
So I'll jump in. And it's also the reason why I mentioned earlier about our children. Our children are the leading cause of our juvenile crime or our crime. It's because kids are breaking in windows. People are calling 911 about things that are not life-threatening. So because we have a problem with juvenile crime, that makes our response time on 911 much, much, much slower to get to. We haven't realized into our poverty problem in Atlanta. Because we have such an issue with poverty
10 seconds.
crime, we are not actually able to realize a solution in solving those problems directly. Other neighborhoods, other counties, other cities don't have the same problems that we have, so police
Time.
response time is much, much lower. So we have to put ourselves into solving the poverty and the crime so we can get to
Time.
mental health solutions that are on the way.
Time, Mr. Rohit.
Mr. Rohit.
Yeah, we have to start treating public safety like we do public health, where we are focused on outcomes, not outputs. Right now, we are so focused on just achieving outputs, metrics that actually don't relate to whether we are safe or not. We are not actually defining what public safety really means. What happens then is that all we're doing is creating a false binary of whether it's policing or not policing, rather than saying what would it look like to make the center of public safety actually our hospital system. There is a whole concept called hospital-based violence interruption work, hospital-based response work, and community-based work. This is not just some sort of random idea. This is working around the country.
10 seconds.
Where when hospital systems actually work with community organizations and health workers, and then law enforcement has a place in that, but is not the only place, nor is the central place for that, then our responses will actually match what people need,
Time.
not what it is that is lining people's pockets.
Can I respond to
Time.
that?
Thank you.
So you said earlier a lot about policies and procedures and putting that into place. So if Cop City was put into place, where are those policies and procedures to put that into place? And how long is that going to take?
How much time do you have? Oh my gosh. Like, I mean, look, like at the end of the day, let's just be plain. When the city of Atlanta decides that it wants to do something, it finds a way to get it done. When it feels like it might be politically inconvenient to do it, then all of a sudden it's not their problem and it's another department or it's another government agency that has to deal with it. So at a certain point, we have to get honest about the fact whether these are actual
10 seconds.
procedural issues or whether it is political inconvenience. Because all of a sudden during election season, all of these solutions came out. But I think we should also look at the
Time.
track record that has happened.
Time.
Where were those solutions over the course of the past decade?
Can I
Time.
respond
Thank
to that?
you.
Can I-
Hold on one moment,
second.
okay? Dr. Love? He needs to want
To
to
that
respond to
point,
your
when there's a
question.
builder making money, it's going to be built. The truth is that we do need more police, but we also need better programming for our homeless and drug addicted. We do have a poverty issue, and one of the things that we're not doing, but I lay out in my 6-point plan, is that we need programs for our homeless that are different for those who have drug issues, those who have mental health, and those who just have relational poverty. Until we see that our nonprofit organization together with the hospitals, together with the city, is what's going to solve it with efficiency in our social programs, we're not going to get there. We need to start looking at all of these programs as a business for the city.
10 seconds.
That's why I named a leader over that. She has experience in those types of programs. We need more resources for these people who are struggling.
Can I answer?
Thank
can I
you.
ask
Yes, Dr.
a
Shea.
question
Yes.
to that? So have you walked into Wright Street before?
Onto Wright Street?
Yeah, Wright Street Prison before.
Fulton County Jail.
I have not.
It's in Fulton. You have not. Okay. So Wright Street housed 90% of African American men with mental illness. So how do we first get to the problem and the source to get rid of that first? Thank you. I want you to
so
respond.
well,
I actually
One,
want her to respond.
1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second.
Oh, no.
Dr. Love, I'll let you answer. Ms. Deeth.
So I think the challenge with that is one of the comments that was made earlier. People make money off all those people that are in the prison. And that starts with policing, and then it gets to that. Now, the county is managing that. But we have to start realizing that the feeder system is our policing. How can we not be driven to get those boys
10
in those
seconds.
places, but have an alternative? Because frankly, we need more dads back in our families. I'm going to affect that as much as I can because I believe
Time.
this is an issue that's plaguing our city.
I can't speak for anyone else, but I have emailed the warden at Fulton County Jail. I want to know how many APS students are sitting in his buildings right now. I don't know if you were here, Dr. Shanika, in the beginning when I said it costs close to $100,000 a year for tax dollars to support a prisoner, and as low as $11,000 a year to support a student. So I have been asking that very question.
10 seconds.
If you do not support them, they are going. A pipeline is too easy of a term, and we've thrown it around too much. You are paying for one or the other, and it needs to stop.
Thank you.
That was a
Thank
great
you.
question.
Ms. Devon?
Okay, thank you. And I'm sorry, can I just ask, because to our student council members, so in the schools, you have counseling as kids don't have to go to counseling. It's just there. It's there in most schools. So why don't we have money management in schools? Why don't we have counseling as a curriculum built into our schools? Why do kids have to say, I'm scared to go to counseling because I'm scared what my friends may say? So how do we get that into the schools, and then we can possibly prevent that 90% of African Americans that are in prison?
All right, so before you get a response to that question, Mr. Bond, I want you to go ahead and answer, and then school board members, if you want to respond, you can.
Yeah, I was going to answer your question about 911. There are over 3,300 911 calls a day in Atlanta. And there's a portion of them that are non-emergency. When emergency calls come in, the operators prioritize those calls. So if you're calling on behalf of someone who is about to commit suicide, it's up against a call of some person shot, maybe someone's having a heart attack, and they prioritize the calls and they dispatch the resources. So that's why you're seeing a real-time delay. 311 was developed to divert those calls, but most people in
10 seconds.
Atlanta, Fulton County haven't done that. And back to your social, the second part of what you just asked the school board members, APS and Fulton County were going to sign a contract for those kind of services. Dr. Christoffen, under her leadership, turned it down.
Thank you,
sir.
So my
And
hope is.
just 1 minute,
sorry,
just to
we got one
correct
more?
myself, I should have said school board candidates. I apologize. Ms. Steve?
Mr. Mann,
Mr.
did you want to
Mann,
speak to
okay.
that, Mrs. Spees?
Thank you for the question. And we have some things in place, such as social and emotional learning curriculum, but it really needs to be improved. I hear from students, especially at the high school level, that this curriculum doesn't actually address their needs or their level of maturity. We also need to increase the number of support staff in our schools. When I was a junior in high school, I was suspended for 5 days. And because of that suspension, I was actually forced to meet with my counselor every single morning. And he helped me through so much and helped me get the scholarship that I got that allowed me to
10
attend
seconds.
Emory University. It shouldn't require that a student gets suspended for them to get that individualized support, and that's why doubling the number of our counselors, I believe, is an imperative to keep us in line with the recommendation of the National School Counselors Association.
Thank you, Mr. Mann.
Thank you, Mr. Mann.
So I
Dr.
have one
Shanika, did you have?
last question to our candidates, our majority candidates. So how can we actually trust you guys to actually say that you're going to do what you're going to do, but put funding where it's going to be, where it needs to be put? And where is this missing funding? I don't know. So that when they say that we need more police officers or responders to respond to fake calls, they're there. So where's the funding? That these other people are, where's jobs? These people should respond to these fake calls. It doesn't matter. Every call is a call. Every call is an important call. So every call should be responded to.
All right, so we're going to take 3 responses to her question. So if you will take the mic, stand. All right, we'll start with Mr. Bourgeois first.
So I wanted to just offer.
Hold on, Mr. Bourgeois. Let me give the order. Mr. Bourgeois first, then we'll go to Dr. Love, and then Mr. Meredith.
So I wanted to offer an antidote, I think, across the board on the nature of your questions and some of the other questions generally. We have to hold our elected officials accountable. But we need to make sure that we understand who they are and who they are representing. So I urge you and everyone in this room to, before you run to the polls,
10 seconds.
to look at the disclosures of the people that they are funding or who is funding them, because that will tell you a lot about who the candidate is and what they care about. So please take the opportunity and make sure that you are with someone and electing someone that is for people.
Time.
It has to be about people.
Time.
Thank you.
Not corporation.
Dr. Love.
So I'm not a member of the political establishment. I don't have people that I know that need to get whatever. I'm coming in to basically, first of all, look at the budget. How are we spending money? Starting zero up budgeting in every department, because the money's there, it's just allocated to somebody's pockets. That is one of the assumptions I have, because that money needs to be allocated back to things that help the people and not things that help the pockets of the few elite who have been running our city for a long time.
Absolutely.
And I don't come in with a background of all that gaming. I come in with a very simple dedication to the people, because this city is also a city for my 3 daughters.
Time.
Thank you, Dr. Love.
Mr. Meredith.
Mr. Meredith.
I agree with both. Accountability is important. You have to be accountable, whether it's a fake call, whether it's a real call. They have to be people put in place that care about people, period. That is the answer across the board. Investing in people that care about people and not about profit. You put people over profit. Profit can be replaced. People cannot.
Thank you, Mr. Meredith.
Thank you, Mr. Meredith.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and I really wanted to direct this question to Andre, but
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
My name is Lakeisha Zachary, and my question also about the mental health. I have a son who suffers from mental health, and it took me a while to get him help. So what are the policies that y'all will put in place? Because they saying that I couldn't get him help at the age of 24 because he had to want the help for himself or know that he needed the help. So I had to press charges against my son in order for him to get help. That was back in 2015. Here it is, 2025. And he's still in the institution of Georgia Regional. And the medication that they've been giving him has not been working. So what policy would y'all put into place for us to get our loved ones help?
Once again, if you want to respond, stand, pick up the mic.
You're going to hear the
Ms.
word
Steve.
policy over and over and over again. And I want you to really, all of us, do research on people here. Policy is a big word. Is that going to impact your son directly? You should not have been fighting for 10 years for mental health services. Again, we are paying for your son's institution, no matter where he is. The standard of care should not be that low. To the other people,
10 seconds.
You have got to press against it. First of all, please don't give up. You have my empathy. If there's anything I could do, I would be willing to do it.
Time.
But continue to tell people that your son needs to be supported.
Thank you. Dr. Love.
Dr. Love.
First of all, I want to say I know what that's like. I've had a daughter who's gone through very similar, and I was very, very thankful to have the funds to do it. And the reason I think God sent me that daughter is to remind me and help me know that part of my mission in this job is to make sure that we are looking exactly as you described at policies that we're spending money on
10
people
seconds.
in the wrong place where they're not getting help. We need to start electing people who are committed to changing the structures that are to the way they can be. And I'm convinced that we're
Time.
in a time when we can fix every issue if we elect people who will.
Thank you,
My
Mr.
heart
Rinker.
goes out to you. I understand exactly what you're going through. We had to do the same exact thing with my nephew, who was legally an adult, and the court said, hey, he's on his own. He has to make these decisions. We've got to change this stigma around mental illness, that it's a holistic community problem. It's not just one family's problem. That means expanding services, fighting with Fulton County to expand their health department so that mental
10
health
seconds.
is just as important as public health with vaccines and everything else. We've got to make sure that we're utilizing every resource. And when that person is out on the street or they do need that help, that we
Time.
have officers and health professionals who can help them.
Thank you, Mr. Rinker.
Okay, I have a second question. What is the procedure or policy that y'all would put in place for unemployment? I've been trying to get unemployment for the last 4 years, and now it done went all the way up into the Superior Court, and I'm still waiting.
Unemployment.
I can't.
Does any candidate want to speak as to if there's anything that the city has the ability to do? We'll start with Mr. Meredith, and then we'll go to Dr. Love.
Specifically, you haven't been able to get unemployment for 10 years. 4 years. You haven't been able. And what all have you tried? Let's just have a conversation. What all have you tried?
I done tried all of my appeals. I done tried legal aid. And right now, the last thing I can try, they said go to Superior Court. So that's still in the works
So you've been getting the runaround.
the whole time.
Listen, and I think this is what all of us are trying to say. It's up to you to pick the right person
10
so
seconds.
you can get your needs met. It's up to you to elect the person that is
Time.
going to be for people so you can get your needs met
Time.
and not profit.
Time.
Okay,
Dr.
Thank you,
Love.
Ms. Mary.
saying
Dr. Love.
that I thought that I was picking the right person until I have these issues, but when it's time to contact them, no one will call you back.
That's an issue.
Excuse me.
Hold on. Dr. Love, go ahead and respond.
Sure. My first question is, are you able to get a job?
No.
Have you been trying to get a job?
Yes.
And
Been trying to go to school, trying to do all of it.
Gotcha. So this is the area that the focus on wealth programming is important. People who are wanting to improve themselves need vehicles to do so. We have a scattering across
10
the
seconds.
city of different programs that aren't aligned together across our nonprofits. So what we need to do as a city is align things so that we know how many people need
Time.
help, and we have specific ways to help people that are streamlined across the city services.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Zachary.
The last two, if you all could just ask one question, and if we could quickly respond, because it's about 9:16. Go ahead.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Jasmine. My question is for the mayor candidates and the city council. How closely are you willing to work with the NPUs and the communities to be accessible for the communities to reach out with concerns and issues, not just with generic replies or answers, but with actual accountability, transparency, and accuracy?
All right. And for the responses, I need 3 persons to pick up the mic and stand, please. All right, so now I get a chance to pick.
Hey, we got 5.
So I'll tell you what, we're going to start with Councilmember Amos, then we'll go to Mr. One second. Okay. So Councilmember Amos, we'll start with you, then we'll go to Mr. Rohit and Mr. Rinker.
So very quickly, that'll be a quick answer for me. I am the only candidate in this District 3 race that has been an MPU vice chair and an MPU chair. When I became office on city council, I actually sponsored the paper to actually do the best practices for the NPU, in which a lot of them has been implemented. I actually been a member of the APAB board, Atlanta Planning Advisory Board, which is a meeting of all of the NPU chairs. What I actually have done when I got into office as well is started my District 3 Leadership Council, which is my MPU chairs and my neighborhood leadership, and we meet quarterly to get that direct impact. If I'm not at MPU meetings, someone from my staff is. So those are the things we have done around getting direct community input from the MPU.
Thank you, Councilmember Amos.
Yeah, so the neighborhood planning unit system is not only a historic system of engagement, but it's also been recently just used as a checkbox to be able to say, okay, we did community engagement and that's it. Without giving the NPUs the actual resources that they need. Most of them are volunteer run. Most of them are just trying to get by, and then one NPU on one side of town may just be looking for a space to meet, and it just that has
10
air,
seconds.
Whereas another side of town has a number of resources where they have everything plastered over. We got to make sure there's equity across our NPUs, that the purpose is centered. We actually did a study of the neighborhood planning system. You can find it at civicatlanta.org.
Yeah, as a neighborhood president, I understand the power of our NPU system. We have got to have more viable people running them and making sure that their voices are heard. As a council member, I will not vote yes on a single project that comes through the city if it has not first gone through a wealth and a healthy discussion at the NPU level. I've seen that happen in
10 seconds.
in NPUV, and I've seen it throughout the city. We've got to make sure our neighborhoods are the true voices getting things done in this city.
All right, we're going to go ahead and do Mr. Meredith. Mr. Bourgeois. Mr. Meredith.
The NPU is, I like to call it the first line of defense. So if anybody is going to be there, all elected officials in their particular NPUs need to be there. They only meet, once a week? Once a month out of the week. So it's not that hard for the local official or even the mayor to come to those meetings to get collective, active data, accurate data about what's going on in the community.
Mr. Bourgeois.
Our neighborhood planning units need more than an advisory suggestion. Because as of right now, it has been looked at that it is simply a checkbox. So it's a Rohit's point, is that people will go through the NPU process simply because they have to, not because they want to, not because they actually want community input. So I am someone
10
who
seconds.
wants to advocate on making sure our NPUs are strengthened, that have more of a mandatory voice instead of just a recommendation.
Time. This will be the last question that we'll take from the audience immediately after. Candidates, go ahead and prepare your closing your closing statements, please, so we can go ahead and wrap up for the evening. Ma'am, you have the mic.
Hi, my name is Pat Burson George.
This is my church. This is my neighborhood. I'm an Atlanta native, born and raised, Grady baby. Grew up in this community. I appreciate the NPUs for holding it down. I appreciate these sisters and other people who have stayed here and held it down. I appreciate the newcomers for coming, but you all have changed our community, and in many ways for the better, and I appreciate that. I grew up here. Started out in Carver Homes, then went to Slater Elementary School for the first 2 years of life, and went to Scott Elementary School from 2nd grade to 4th grade before they bust us out of our community to integrate the Atlanta Public Schools. I went to Margaret Mitchell, great school. Went to Sutton Middle, great school. Went to Old Northside High School, great school. Got a great education in APS. Prepared me to go to Georgia State. Graduated from Georgia State. Became a journalist. Was a newspaper reporter at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Moved to St. Paul, Minnesota, was a newspaper reporter there. Moved to Long Island, New York, and was a newspaper reporter there. I covered the NPUs when I started out at the AJC. I saw that they were the first line of defense for communities to have a say in what goes on in their neighborhoods. From development to whatever the city was doing, and followed that down to the city to then see things get backlogged and stuck in City Hall and committees and things with council people arguing about stuff. I had to report on that. That was my job. But I also live here. I left, gone 19 years, came back, married in 2014. Stayed with my mom the first year down on Claude Street, near where you live. Now I live up in West Highlands, which was Old Perry Homes, if you know anything about this community, where you live. I don't need any politicians or wannabe politicians to give me any answers about what you're gonna do and what you're gonna promise or anything like that. But I want you to remember that this is a community that's been here, and we are here now. That school, if it's not a school, it needs to remain a community center. We have people sleeping at the library because they have nowhere to go. We have unemployed and underemployed people in this community who need hope. We have public safety issues. We were praying for this place before they even broke ground on these apartments next door. And then violence broke out, and it's been crazy. Now, they have a manager there now that's partnering with our church and other churches and other community groups to try to help to quell some of this. So we are gonna do our part. These sisters and brothers, they're doing their part. I just need y'all, whatever happens at the end of these races, to do your part. And you need a report card. I want to see a report card come out of the Atlanta City Council, the Atlanta School Board. I want to see a report card. I want you to show back up here every year and speak to the people about what you did. Not what you promised, not what you proposed, but what you actually did. And I'm going to tell this sister right here, I came here because I wanted to hear what the candidates were saying. I didn't want to just phone it in this time. But I came, and she didn't come twice. So she lost my vote. She lost my vote. And I just want her to know, if you can't show up for us, you can't get my vote. I value my vote. Too many people marched, bled, died, and went through a lot so I could have a vote, so I could have a voice. That school needs to stay there. They took us out of our community. They took people. My mother said, we want you to have the best. So she took us out, and they left people there. And they got left behind. There used to be this thing about no child left behind. They left a lot of people behind. And they didn't get what we got. So that school needs to stay right there. Whether it's a school, it's a community center, it's a homeless shelter, it's a place where you can go and play midnight basketball. I don't care. But it needs to stay right there because this community needs it. We've got so much in this community right now that I don't even recognize. I would come back to Atlanta and visit year after year and say, who are they building all this housing for? Who are they building it for? It's not for the people who live here. We can't afford it.
Talk about it.
We cannot
All right.
afford it. So here's the thing. Don't make me any promises. Please don't open your mouth to make me any promises. But if you say you're going to do something, get down there and do it. But that school right there, all of you have a responsibility to leave it there and make it something for this community so that the children can have something, the homeless can have something, the seniors can have something, the people who have put in the time, who have put their blood, sweat, tears, money, taxes, everything in this community, just to see now they get pushed out and pushed aside. So, make your little statements. I'll sit here and listen. We appreciate y'all for coming. I really do. But you know what? It's about what you do, not what you say.
Thank you, Ms. George.
Thank you,
just
Ms.
right
George.
quick.
Thank
Just
you,
right
Ms.
quick.
George.
Thank you, everyone. I want to first apologize. I know we have gone over time. I believe it was necessary. So if y'all want to blame somebody, blame me, and I'll accept that responsibility. It's almost 9:30. So at this time, I'm going to ask each candidate to go ahead and prepare to stand, take the mic. Again, speak directly into the mic. You will have 90 seconds to make your closing statements. We will start on this end, Dr. Love, and we will go in the order to Mr. Meredith. Oh,
Hold on,
Councilmember
Dr. Love.
Bond, we'll let you go.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I got a text. I had to go check the water department. Make sure the water department at the church was working. But in all seriousness, I want to thank this church, the leadership here, for providing us an opportunity to come out and discuss the issues. I'm Michael Julian Bond. I'm your current city councilman for Post 1 at large. I'm not new to it. I'm true to it. I've worked ardently on your behalf to make sure that we've got the things that we need for our city. I've worked on all the issues across the board. I've done affordable housing. I've done stuff for homeless. We've worked on public safety. We've worked on city utilities. And we're going to work on a historical commission for this Scots community to make sure that the history out here is preserved. We want to make sure that we are doing and building upon the work that we've had. I'm the most prolific legislator. This is a legislative job in the city's history. What other people propose to do, I'm already performing for you. You can go to bondforatlanta.com to sign up for the campaign. We want you to join the winning team. We want you to be here with us as we continue to march to make Atlanta better. There is nothing in this city that I haven't touched. There's no neighborhood or community that I haven't served. There's no piece of legislation that has not been considered for every corner of this community. I'm your candidate for it. I need your support. I want your vote. I'm Michael Julian Bond, Post
10
1
seconds.
at large. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Love.
I found that speech very moving. Because the job that I'm stepping into as asking to be your mayor is a big one. I have led many turnarounds in large corporations, but this would be the biggest job I'd have because it matters so much. It matters. Atlanta matters to me and it matters to you. And all I can promise you is that I'm going to do my very best. That doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people. To me, as a Christian, as an Eagle Scout, as a father, as your neighbor, it matters a lot. I have been successful in the past. I come to you as a servant. I come to you with creative business ideas. I come to you with transparency. I come to you with a commitment to do my very best and be as transparent as possible. So I ask you to vote for love for mayor of Atlanta and have someone in the seat who's going to do his very best to do you and our community right.
Thank you, Dr. Love. Ms. Steve.
Ms. Steve.
My name is Aisha Allen Stitt. Thank you so much. I want to be very careful, Dr. Carson. I wanted to text someone who had authority to ask about Scott Elementary because I said I can't speak to that. intelligently, and I wanted to be able to. So in one scenario, there is a combining of Scott, and in the other scenario, there is a preservation of Scott. So I hear you, by no means. And I think I am the one who said, I understand our history is being erased with a big eraser, and that is a problem. And I am committed to preserving our legacy in this city. So I want to clarify that very quickly. And it does not seem that Scott is on the immediate chopping block, but I have heard all of you about your contributions and what this community means to the city. I understand that as someone who has grown up in this city and someone who has lived it, and I want to honor that. So the other thing is, I haven't stood up here and told you one lie. I encourage you to look up what everybody else here has said, who gives them money. Somebody mentioned that earlier. Look up where people are getting money from. Look up who gives me money. That's going to tell you why I'm in this. That's going to tell you why some other people are in this. If you really want to have a conversation about Scott and school closures, you all are going to have to look at your charter schools. You're going to have some tough conversations about charter schools.
10 seconds.
I'll leave on that note. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Mann.
Thank you again, MPUG, for having us tonight. My name is Royce Mann. I'm a lifelong Atlantan, a proud graduate of Atlanta Public Schools, Grady High School class of 2020, a recent Emory alum, a longtime community organizer, and I am excited to be running to be your Seat 8 citywide member on the Board of Education. Because now more than ever, we need a really strong first line of defense for our public schools. And this is deeply personal for me. My guiding inspiration is my late grandmother, Connie Stewart. Her proudest achievement in life was helping to create the U.S. Department of Education as an appointee in the Carter administration. Right now, her work is under threat, but more importantly, our collective future is under threat. Teachers are being fired for simply teaching the truth. The civil rights of students, especially LGBTQIA+ students, undocumented students, and students with disabilities are under attack. And our schools are being defunded. We need leaders who are ready to stand up on all fronts, from the board dais to the streets to the state capitol, and who will fight for our students every single day. And we also need leaders who understand what it's like to be a student in today's world. As I said before, we have a 9-member Board of Education. We have incredible perspectives on there. The perspective of a current teacher, of a former superintendent,
10 seconds.
of multiple parents. What we don't have is a single member who has been a student in our schools in the last 2 decades. That's the voice that I'm running to bring to our board and to uplift the voices of students across this district.
Councilmember Amos.
Thank you, Mr. Mann.
Good evening, everyone. Atlanta City Council member Byron Amos, Atlanta City Council District 3. Remember the name Byron Amos, because it's one thing, sister, you said for true. It's nothing we can say within these 90 seconds that the last 3.5 years that I've been on council have not supported. So don't listen to the lies. I'm sorry, the mistaken statements that the person is about to tell you they haven't seen me in the last 4 years. Social media pages, well documented in news stories. The work we have done in the community is well documented. At one of the forums they talked about, they engaged me about doing a grant in which we applied for, gotten awarded, doing the work. So he was mistaken about that again. I give you my name again, Byron Amos, because I want you to do the research. I want you to Google the names that are on the District 3 ballot. See who has a track record. See who has been turning up. See who has been doing the things with the community. I've been knowing the young man running against me at least for the last 5 or 6 years. Never joined his NPU, never joined his neighborhood association, wakes up one day and want to be a city council member. Do that sound right? We have been in this work together for the last 3.5 years. Let's continue to work together to make District 3 the place that we all want it to be. We don't need to reinvent District 3. We only need to reinvest in District 3. Byron Amos, Atlanta City Council,
10 seconds.
District 3.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Bostic.
First of all, thank you so much for having me. My name is Perrin Bostic, and I'm proud to be a candidate for Atlanta City Council District 3. What we just heard is the exact reason why we need to turn the page and move forward. We're tired of all the divisive politics and the lies. I mean, if you go out and you talk to the people like I have in my community, they'll tell you they can't get their emails returned, they can't get their calls returned, and that is the most basic functions of the job. So we're talking about policies, but our council member can't even return people's phone calls. Also, let me just say this. My opponent has been running for office since 2013. If he has not done it by now, he is not going to do it in the next 4 years. So it is time to turn the page and move forward and usher in a new generation of leadership who's ready to lead. He says I've not been a member of my NPU. That's, number one, a lie. I'm also a member of my neighborhood association. I pay my dues. But also, I have experience. I'm the only candidate in this race that has worked at the federal level, the county level, as well as the city council. So don't believe any of that. This is just another scare tactic of somebody who's holding on to something of the past and not ready to usher in and address new issues that we have today. I'm the only person that picked up the phone when an MPU chair called when we had a senior who was being displaced and all of his belongings were on the front of the lawn. I'm the only person that continues to show up, and I'm going to continue to show up whether I'm successful on November 4th or not, because I care about the communities that I want to serve. My name is Perrin Bostic, and I'm proud to be a candidate for city council. Thank you.
Very quickly, Councilmember Amos, we're going to give you 30 seconds to respond, but there's been an announcement from Ms.
It's just
Freeman.
a comment. In the history of a candidates forum, have I never heard that during closing arguments or closing statements that we have to do a rebuttal. So go ahead, Mr. Amos.
I absolutely love it because we talk about lives and ushering in new leadership. Look, people, it's about this is serious times for serious people. And it's all about who can do the work. The side-by-side comparison is lovely. He has counseled 3 events that we could actually give the people an educated opportunity to compare what you have heard. Like I said, do the history, do the track record, do the work. If you're saying all of those social media pictures that you see with our community people, the neighborhood blitz, the
10 seconds.
neighborhoods and things of that nature is a lie, then who you're going to believe. Do the research, make the calls, please.
Listen, people don't need photo opportunities. This is what we continue to see. He shows up to community events and takes photos and leaves.
Mr. Bostic.
That's not community.
Well, thank you all for coming this evening and staying
Excuse
this
me.
long.
Hold on.
Hold on, Mr. Rinker.
I want to set the tone like it was in the beginning when we had the house rules about we were going to be respectful and professional and respect each other. Okay? Now, y'all should have been this fiery during the forum. Now we're getting ready to go to the closing. It's 9:38. Go ahead, Mr. Rinker.
Thank you all for coming this evening and staying this long. It's almost time we can say good morning, but it's important that we're all involved in our city. I'm Matt Rinker. I'm running for Atlanta City Council, post 1 at large, because I believe Atlanta's best days are still ahead of us, but it takes all of us working together. I believe we can't get by with the bare minimum. The incumbent in this race says that he goes to every city council member meeting. That's true, but it's the bare minimum. We need people invested in our communities. I've been fighting in my neighborhood for when watershed management was taking people's homes. I've been fighting in my neighborhood when they tried to close down Barack Michelle Obama Elementary School. I know what you all are saying about it. The hub of a community is the schools that serve it. I'm there to fight with you. I'm there to be in your neighborhood a year from now when I'm serving on city council, and I will be there every year, and every month you will hear from my office when I'm in office. I believe the best days of Atlanta are ahead of us when we are working together, not against each other. That's why I will work across the city from Bankhead to Buckhead, East Atlanta to West Midtown, and Collier Heights to Cascade Heights. I believe we are a great city when we are blended together and fighting together. So go to mattforatlanta.com. I want your vote this week, next week, on November 4th.
Thank you, Mr. Mendoza.
Thank you all for being here today and for having us. I'm Juan Mendoza, again running for Atlanta City Council, post 1 at large, a citywide seat. Will be on everybody's ballot. And I'm running to bring fresh energy, fresh perspective. I've got the boots on the ground experience by being a neighborhood leader, president of the Oakland Board Association. I've been an MPU executive committee for 6 years, rolling up my sleeves every day, doing the work. And I know that neighborhood associates and neighborhood leaders really move this city. And so I'm running to prioritize communities like this. I come from a low-income family. I was born to undocumented parents. I grew up in a community that was neglected. All the challenges that we're talking here is a very similar experience that I had. And I have one question for you. We are having the same conversations 10, 20 years later. And for me, it's to really to charge you. It is time to elect
something different. We are going to get the same results in this community until we elect something different. I will show up. I've showed up to everything we've been invited to. I've shown up everywhere across this city. I have the passion to serve the city. I have the time to serve the city. I have the experience to serve the city. So I ask you, it is time for a change. If you are happy with the ways things are going in your community, vote for the incumbent. But if you want something to finally change, somebody's going to prioritize these communities. I'm your choice. Juan Mendoza. You can find me at JuanForAtlanta.com.
10 seconds.
Thank you.
Mr. Rohit.
Thank you for having us. This is our about 20th forum, and I'm tired of giving these TED Talks alone. We are at a place where we need to be electing folks who will show up. I used to think that running for office was about good people versus bad people. It's actually good people versus cowards. What has happened in this moment is that we are in need of bold and courageous leadership. And we are waiting for people who are bold and courageous enough to do it. I've spent my entire career in public service. I will be in public service. You can call me CBS because I have the receipts. They are long. I have spent a lot of time making sure that you may not know my name, but you know my work. Over the past 10 years, we've made sure that we are investing in community-based work because community is the answer. Doing work in community is policy work. That is policy work. It's not just what
10
happens
seconds.
behind closed doors. I believe that community engagement in the city has to get stronger and better. The things that are built for us, without us, are not for us. I'm here to be in relationship,
Time.
a deep relationship with this community. I can't wait to come back and to tell you all the things that we were able to do.
Mr. Bourgeois.
Check, check. Good night, everyone, because that's where we are. I want to say thank you to each and every person that has stayed with us to have a conversation that is deeply rooted in solutions. I got in this race for one reason, and that is because in this community, those that have the least needs get the most service, and those with the most needs get ignored every single day. That is what is happening here. And it is no different than other parts of the city where those that are influential and that have more means than others get solves first. And it's happened over and over and over again until the point where these neighborhoods that we call home are disenfranchised and overlooked. But I say no more, because we have to be able to think for the future. New ideas, new solves. Long days are the gone where someone will say, well, you care too much about children, so maybe you're in the wrong office. We have to prioritize families for the future.
I'm so sorry. It's still wrapping up.
We are wrapping up, and with wrapping up, I will say to you, we have to be able to look our sons, daughters, mothers, grandmothers in the face and elect leaders who are prepared to solve our
10
problems
seconds.
in our communities. Because having the same problems generationally, 5 years, 10 years, is the issue.
Time.
Having a situation where we literally expect a different result from the same outcome is the definition of extreme.
Time.
My name is Charles Bourgeois. I'm running for Atlanta City Council
Thank
right
you,
here
Mr.
in District
Bourgeois. Mr. Hillis.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you, MPUG, for hosting us, and as well as Springfield Missionary Baptist Church. Dustin Hillis, Atlanta City Council member for District 9 since 2018. Prior to that, I worked for my predecessor for 2 years to garner the experience that you needed. Attended MPU meetings since 2012 and helped run my neighborhood organization since 2012. And I'll say, when you go to the polls, remember that experience equals results. I've gotten over $43 million in the Moving Atlanta Forward program, more than any other council district in this entire city. We have expanded and either activated or acquired over 400 acres of new parkland in the city. And we're going to keep the public safety strides in stride and improve upon them as we move forward. We also need to look for what's ahead. So in the next 4 years, we want to continue and increase the infrastructure upgrades, whether that's our roads, our sidewalks, so you can get to those parks safely within a 10-minute walk, and then also continue those public safety upgrades, and then bring more parks and trails and recreation centers to the city of Atlanta. And again, I'm Atlanta City Council Member Dustin Hillis, asking for your vote, and you can find more at votedustinhillis.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hillis. Mr. Meredith.
Giving honor to God, who is the head of my life, the Springfield Baptist Church, thank you for having us. To the neighbors of the NPU, friends, candidates, family, I stand before you today not just as a candidate, but as a servant, called to a mission, not a position. My name is Eddie Meredith, and I am running to be your next mayor of Atlanta. Atlanta's future is not in concrete and cranes. It's in our people. It's in our tradespeople, our school teachers, our homeless, our impoverished, our 9-to-5ers, our tech workers, our college students, our children. It's in the passion, the faith, and the fire, and the resilience of every one of you. So today I ask you to join me, not just to win an election, but to start a movement that says we're done with politics that neglect. We are done with politics that divide. We are building an Atlanta where everyone, and I mean everyone, has a home, a future, and a voice. This is our city. This is our movement. Let's move Atlanta forward together. Thank you. God bless you, and may God bless the city of Atlanta.
Thank you, Mr. Meredith. All right, very quickly, I want to put some thank yous out. First, I want to say thank you to Dr. Carson for allowing us to use his church, as he always does, as a very strong supporter of NPUG. Dr. Carson and I will be down tomorrow at the Atlanta Public Schools office meeting with the new superintendent. So we're going to have some conversations for those of you about Scott Elementary. Dr. Carson and I will report back to you. I also want to thank City of Atlanta officials for you all taking the time to come. Again, for staying late, I appreciate you. Thank you, but hold me accountable for keeping you all late. I do apologize, but I felt it was necessary. The Atlanta Commission on Women, those are the people that you saw greeting you all in the hallway, manning the food, giving away the different items and things that we had out there. Thank them very much because I needed their help, and I asked them. Jennifer Friedman, my co-moderator, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Thank you for volunteering. I did not even have to ask. As soon as she heard it, the first thing she said was, I'll join you. Jennifer works in Congresswoman Nakima's office, Nakima Williams, and she comes to our NPU meetings every month. She doesn't skip a beat. If she's going to be late, she lets me know. And I can tell you it's a pleasure to work with her from that level. In addition, my executive committee from NPUG, I think most of everybody has gotten out of here. I think Ms. Powell is still around here somewhere. She's probably out in the lobby wondering why. Oh, there she is. Do it again, Ms. Powell. Thank you, Ms. Powell. Ms. Powell worked with me tirelessly. She texted me and called me and emailed me and told me to do these things. And if I didn't do them quickly enough, she called me back and said, did you get that done yet? So up until today, we got everything done, and we are tired. We're going to get ready to get out of here very shortly. I want to say thank you to the Friends of Living Cooper Shepherd. Those folks, again, Ms. Powell orchestrated them to make sure this event went off without a hitch. The Lincoln Homes Neighborhood Association, where Ms. Powell lives, again, her neighbors volunteered without having to be asked. And it's Demian Leaks is who prepared the food. The food is outside. I want to make sure that everyone takes an opportunity to stop by, grab your food on the way out. And very lastly, Mr. Bostic, we are the moderators. We have been courteous and we've been professional to everybody tonight. I did not appreciate your conduct tonight. That was very discourteous. And I want to make sure that you understand that I'm not happy about that. Thank you. Everyone, good night. Be safe. Be well. I got you. And the last thing is, Ms. Freeman is going to remind you to go vote. Ms. Freeman.
Well, before I do that, I'm trying not to be long. I got circles all around stuff because there are some things that I believe need to be said. First of all, I believe that candidates should never respond, not necessarily respond to a question, but if it's not in your purview, okay, if you don't have the power to make legislation, enforce legislation, you should know how to redirect either by saying that's another entity, you're going to work together as a partner, okay? So keep that in mind. Issues like Fulton County, state of Georgia, the federal government, okay? All of us have elected officials in every level of government. So just keep that in mind. Don't put something on your plate, okay, that you are not elected to do, but reiterate that you have relationships, that you can collaborate, that is your style of servanthood. That's the first thing I have. The second thing is, don't forget 988 for mental health, dialing 988 for mental health. Resources. Nonprofits, yes, they probably can help with food, clothing, shelter. However, nonprofits are really suffering right now because funding is being taken from them as well. So what does that mean? An opportunity for what? Our local government, right? So that's city, county, state, working together, okay? So don't forget those things. Also, community engagement. I believe there were a few candidates who talked about community engagement. The second thing that communities always are concerned about, other than public safety, is you all are not engaging with us in community. You have not put together a community engagement plan to involve us, to hear our voice. So let's keep that in mind. What else? What else? Okay, so you are going to introduce legislation, policy. What I see all the time is a lot of policies is passed, but it's not enforced. And you have to have both. So that's something that I wanted to say. Also, and I just circled some stuff. Okay, now, federal government. If the lady is here, I think it was Ms. Zachary. I'd like to speak to you afterwards. Anybody with federal government issues, you can see me afterwards. Also, yes. The salaries of the council, all the city officials, their salaries have increased. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Go look it up, okay? Because it's a lot higher. Let me just say this. So voters have to hold elected officials accountable, okay? Make sure that each elected official up here and or the ones that are vying for their positions have the following in place. Electronic newsletter, text service, a website, social media, that they are letting you know what they're doing in their offices, okay? If they don't have that, then there should be a process of elimination. And last but not least, go out and vote. Now, let me say this. Voter turnout, early voter turnout is dismal. It's very, very low, okay? And so I want to encourage all of us in this room to call 20 neighbors. You don't know whether they're registered to vote or not, but make sure they get to the polls. So we know that early voting has started Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Saturdays, October 18th through the 25th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And Sundays, October 19th through the 26th from 12 p.m. until 5 p.m. So I've gotten off my soapbox, and thank you all so much for patiently listening. We thank you all so much for your time and your attention and for us being over time. And thank you to the candidates and those you'll continue to serve and those who are willing to serve. We look forward to the results. And like I said in the beginning, if you don't get enough votes to win, stay engaged. Okay?
Thank you,
That's it.
everyone. Good night.
Good night.